I have no feet. I have feet. I have no feet. I have feet.
Oh my gosh, you have one
Feet.
foot. You have one foot.
Feet.
You have one foot.
Feety.
What is up with you and John Harvey / Gumi? We started off the show with, and these are my grippers.
I do theater,
Yeah.
so it comes up a
Well,
lot.
that's a good segue. You do theater.
I do theater.
Oh my gosh, I laughed so loud into the mic. You do theater, and the reason why we kind of reunited today was, one, we wanted to see each other. I freaking love Jessica. She
I love
is
Daniel.
such an amazing person.
He's my hoppy bunny. The light in my heart. You are. My cold, dead heart.
No, you have a really bright, warm heart.
Okay.
As
I'll
much,
say so.
see, we both have trouble accepting
Mm-hmm.
good things.
Mm-hmm. But I love you, Daniel. You're my molecule.
This is the face. No,
You're
I
my
don't wanna
molecule friend.
my friend Melissa likes to call soul family.
Mm-hmm.
Likes to call it soul family.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason we reunited was because you were telling me that you might potentially want to do a career flip / change.
Yeah. So
Tell me about that.
I've had so many jobs, careers, trajectories that have all had to swerve, pivot, change suddenly, frequently without my inciting them, out of life, the universe knocking me off the proverbial counter like a cat. That it's just become something that is always there. And so I have a lot of friends that have like a straight trajectory. Like I do theater. One of my greatest friends in the theater, Jimmy Moore. And he is a person that gets what I call a trajectory. That means he went to school for his degree. When he auditions for a show, he gets in. When he wants to direct a play, he just goes and talks to a few people and magically it comes about. And that's just how his life is.
He's always scared
Not to
me.
say that he does not have trials and tribulations,
Mm-hmm.
but the track that he is on, and he works very, very hard, the track that he succeeds with.
He was in your graduating class, right?
He was. That's how we met in grad school. And we've done shows together, and we worked together at the Playhouse in San Antonio. But he is somebody who gets to have that trajectory that he wants.
Hmm.
And I know not everybody gets that. And I continue to try to have the trajectory that I want. But I've noticed over my half a century that there's always has to be sort of something else happening. Like I can't just do that. I always have to have another job because it doesn't make enough money to support myself doing one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I have one job, I really need to have something else to counterbalance it. Like right now I have two jobs. I have my theater job. Pays better than most theater jobs, but does not pay enough for me to just do that.
Right.
And then I have my Edward Jones job,
The financial
job,
Mm-hmm.
which is a completely different part of the brain, sitting in front of a computer all day, still problem solving, but it's not creative in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And it's a bit rote and it's a bit procedural. And I can only do that part-time for my own sanity. Neither one is actually giving me everything that I need. So then I'm at this point where I'm thinking, what was it about theater that I just can't stop. I have to do it. But it's not going to keep me alive. So what is it about that I'm either not able to do full-time so it can keep me alive? Or what is it about it that I can't stop doing it so that I can pursue something that will keep me alive?
Okay.
So these are things that I think about quite a bit. And I think about all the different avenues of creativity because I've also, used to write short stories. I like painting. I like doing all those kinds of things. Anything creative, that's just how my mind works. Is very lovely, but I get very disjointed and confused when it comes to having to do something to make money. I've been working since I was 9.
Oh wow.
So,
Just by necessity or because you wanted to?
it's kind of a generational thing. Um, Gen Xers have been feral and on their own
Mm.
since they were born. So, it was perfectly natural to get a job at 9. That's how you got money. So I got certified by the Red Cross. Me and one of my best friends got certified by the Red Cross to be childminders. So we were
Minors like.
certified to be babysitters by the Red Cross.
Oh, I
So,
see. I see.
Yeah, so we had all the skills,
Wow.
but we were 9, and that didn't. The fact that we were children, looking after children at the time,
Probably not.
nobody batted an eyelash because it was just pretty normal.
And now it's like, absolutely not.
You couldn't leave your kid home alone until they're 16, which I'm like, what the hell? It's home alone all the time.
Same. Or, yeah, basically. Me and my sister.
Yeah. So that is something that also kind of made me feel like maybe the life that I have led, where I've always worked for things, but not for the thing that really made my life why I wanted it to be, is maybe setting me up for not success, setting me up for habits, or expected habits even, that are not allowing me to see the things I need to see to be successful, or to work in the theater full time to actually make that my living. Because when I'm there, I'm exhausted, as you know. You know what working a show is.
Oh my God. So many hours.
But at the same time, when I'm done with the show, I'm like, what's next? I need to do another show.
What do you think that is, though, that keeps you wanting to be like, what's next? I need more. I need to fill my time up with more. Kind of sidetracking a little bit, but.
I don't know. Part of me, I've been told by Brandon Newton that
Oh, he was in it.
scene designer, the amazing scene
That's right,
designer,
that's right.
absolutely stunning scene designer, Brandon Newton, who was another dear friend of mine, that I'm probably neurospicy and was just never diagnosed because we didn't do that.
Neurospicy.
And that could be
Is that a Gen X term?
a lot of the situations. A lot of the thought processes, the problems with thought processes, the incomplete things, the having to do 2 different things at the same time constantly. It could be from that.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's entirely possible.
totally.
Don't know what to do about that. And he's like, well, just go get yourself evaluated. I'm like, at 50, what are they going to do?
Prescribe you Adderall.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. I'm like, I don't, I've got enough medications prescribed to me for my other health problems because I'm 50. I don't know if I need to keep adding prescriptions.
It might subtract like half of them because Adderall you can't take like X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D.
I know. I might not be able to take my heart medication or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a problem. So part of me is like, you know what? We just sucked it up and dealt with it. That's just.
I hope some
That's
people.
what you gotta do. Yeah.
I hope some people are like, did she just say she was 50? What the heck? She looks like 30. Jessica has, as you can see, almost flawless skin, and
Ice.
yes, she attributes that to like
You rub
this
ice over your face after you wash it.
technique, or you put ice over your face after you wash your face. What do you wash your face with?
It depends on the season. If it's summertime, I will use like a cleansing oil.
Ooh,
If it's winter,
I knew you were bougie in this stuff, but I didn't think you were this bougie. Oh my goodness, I just use like a random cleanser, and like, okay, not random, but the one that I like. No, it's a good one. It's a good one. I think I went to like an Ulta, and they looked at my face, and they're like, we recommend this one, this, and this one, and I was like, okay.
but yeah, seasonally, depends on the season.
Wow.
What you use on your face.
I
That's
use
a digression.
in beauty products. I really like their cleanser. They have a plant-based retinol where you don't have to worry about like the negative sun effects of retinol. But I still use sunscreen. Although I didn't today because it was cloudy and I was lazy. And then I moisturize and then sunscreen.
You don't have any lines here or here.
Is that good or bad?
It's fabulous.
I laugh a lot though.
I know you have very mobile face, and for someone with a mobile face, you don't have any crow's feet. You don't have any of this. Like I never used to have any of this at all, and then like 35, I was like, what the hell is that?
I'm starting to kind of notice it now. I do this a lot. Yeah.
Like I said, you've got a mobile face.
I do.
For someone with a mobile face, your skin has not shown the history of it at the moment, and that's perfectly fine.
My face feels so stiff right now. I've been moving it this whole time, trying to like, I need to do an actor's warm up.
Dehydrated.
That might be it. Let me
Hydrate.
So okay, you what I heard was that you get a lot of satisfaction from theater and then the accounting stuff, finance stuff tickles the other side of the brain, but both of them together don't still make you feel whole, don't make you feel satisfied. And
No. With theater, as you know, there are times when things are really frustrating, more so than creatively productive. Theater takes a lot of faith. A lot of faith. Because it's live. You can't go back and edit.
I always say like, oh, I can always go back and cut this, but I never do. I like to put everything in.
Everything, just leave it all out there.
Yeah, yeah, all the face stuff. I'm like, oh god, people are gonna judge me. Whatever.
But yeah, and just trying to figure out what that was, and then I've sort of gone back and looked at all the things in my life, because like I said, I've moved 18 times in my life.
Jeez, I thought I moved a lot.
About every 4 years, and that started. I think the first time I moved, I was 4, and then again 8, and it just kept going from there. And so that habit of constant change, of not having permanence, place permanence, object permanence is an issue for me.
Oh my gosh, you do have ADHD.
Issue for me. We just called it out of sight, out of mind. We didn't have fancy names like object permanence. It was just out of sight, out of mind. But that habit, I think, of my life of not having constancy, other than even we're trained to have the habit of trajectory. We go to school at like 3 to 18, then we do it again until we're about mid-20s, and that's a habit. It's a trained habit. You go to school, you do go to this class and this class and this class, and that trains you to have the expectation of the habit. You leave that habit is gone. Because yes, you have to go to work at a certain time. Yes, you go home at a certain time. But all of the sort of micro habits that were inlaid in school as continuous and as what truth was and what the reality was are gone. You have to sort of figure out what your day is, even if you already know your tasks. It's not the same, and so you're sort of out there in no man's land a little bit. Even though you may go to work at 9, go home at 5, whatever, and you do that repeatedly, what you were told from the ages like 3 to 18 doesn't exist anymore.
When you're out in the real world?
Yeah, because you have to create your own habits. You have to create your own securities and dependencies and truths and daily things that you know.
There was
around the thing you do to make money and be alive.
And even more so, I mean, yes, and well, someone put it this way, I forgot who, but we're like we live in a pretty comfy world right now, where we have to go out and make and do hard things, like choose to do hard things. And so when you lose that habit after doing the hard things that is high school or elementary through high school, in America at least, you have to go out and like do hard things. And so I lost my point to that, but
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that was that has dawned on me, especially recently, because I'm at this place where this thing that I've been working toward my entire life, 35 years I've been doing theater,
Wow.
is not bringing me the joy, satisfaction, and betterment that it once had. And I kept having this feeling like just wasn't my place. Like I was not in the right place. And I couldn't figure it out if it was like the theater company that I'm working for, which is great, wonderful people. If I'm just, that's not my place, and that's why I'm feeling this way. It's not really the right theater company for me, even though everyone there is wonderful, and I love all of them, and I get to see people like Hunter that I haven't seen in decades, and things like that happen. Little nuggets of universal kisses.
Yeah. Oh, I love
heaven. But at the end of the day, when I'm tired and I spend more time doubting my abilities and questioning where they've gone than feeling I know what I'm going to do with this next. I know how this is going to be beautiful. I know how to make this moment special. I know how to, all the things that I already know I know how to do. Because I've worked really hard to have those skills. It's not like God just said, you get that skill. He did not. I've worked really hard to get all the skills that I've had.
Yeah,
but
really
why
have.
aren't those skills that I'm having and using, why are they not giving me that satisfaction and sort of sense of perpetuity that they used to in working toward them?
Perpetuity meaning
perpetual, continuing, and continuing. So then I started thinking, well, maybe it's another life shift. Like I never thought I would do the finance job ever because admin, I don't care. But it's something I can do fairly easily. I learned very quickly. I had to learn the job very quickly. Because I learned the job very quickly, I can work at a lot of different places for my job. And I have the skills to do it. But again, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, I'm like, my eyes hurt, I'm tired, and I don't really care.
Right. Doesn't give you that same sense of...
I don't feel I've accomplished anything. And then I start to having the panic attack of, oh my God, I have a 9-to-5 job where I do the same thing every day at the same time. And then I come home and I'm too tired to do anything. And all I do is watch TV and sit on the couch. And I'm going to end up like my parents did, which I always resented and hated. And oh my God. Stop! Because I've never wanted a 9-to-5 job. I don't understand it.
I like the money, the constant money.
Constant money is good. But I don't want to lose my eyesight because I'm staring at a computer all day. I don't want to lose the ability that in the things that I worked hard to develop, the skills I worked hard to develop in all the years that I've been doing this, because I'm sitting in front of a computer. Because then I'm just full of insecurity, and then that just gets in the way. It interferes. It's an obstacle you have to overcome, and that's time consuming. Nobody likes to overcome obstacles. They have too many other things to do.
I don't want to do hard things.
You know? So it's kind of this rabbit hole of like, what the hell?
So what conclusion did you come to?
I haven't come to a conclusion. That's part of the reason I'm talking to you, Daniel.
Oh my gosh.
I've come to no conclusion.
And that's okay.
Part of the things I think is, maybe I'm just not a person that gets a trajectory. I don't get an A to B to C to D to E.
I reject that notion if the universe is listening,
bing,
that kind of...
Bing! Bing! I just kind of have to, like, ping-pong around in unconnected episodes of life. And in this episode, I am in this place doing these things, and something's going to change. And again, I'm that cup on the counter that the cat is going to knock off. And once that happens, probably my cell phone. Once that happens, I'm going to have another episode where I'm going to have to find something else out, do something different. It's not going to be related to that. And I'm going to be asking myself, why did I have to leave that area? And why did that not continue to happen? And why did that opportunity not grow? And
well, sometimes
that could just be my life.
Sometimes not having a trajectory is the trajectory. Because
ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, ping
I mean, you could think of it that way, or you, because I mean, everything in the life, in the way that you lived your life has kind of led you to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And though you did tell me that you have some regrets, you wouldn't. Would you still be the same person you are now without having gone through everything you've gone through?
I think in some ways I'd be a better person at some things. I would
Fair.
have some areas I would have more confidence. Um, because again, some of those people in life you give your time to aren't worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
They can also have lasting damage.
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So, but everybody has that. There's nobody. I don't. Even people with charmed lives don't have an area of their life where they're not scathed,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they just dress it up better.
Or they're
And
struggling with different things that you aren't struggling with, and like, oh, this
yeah,
comes easy. Like, I'm a good person. I do this. And what if they're not a good person, or they struggle with just the things that you don't?
yeah.
Some something that I thought of while you were talking is the reason you're like, this is the reason I'm talking to you, and I feel very honored because sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, or at least I feel that way. But something that like came up when you were talking was, how can we take like all of the, I'm going to use this word, I don't know if this is the right word to use, all the amalgamation of skills
Mm-hmm.
that you have accumulated throughout the years, how do we make that profitable? Because I'm sure there are
Somebody
ways.
tell me, because I've tried to figure it out, and I failed miserably at figuring that out.
What is, like, when you say I've had so much time to develop these skills, what are the skills that you have developed?
That covers a lot of areas.
Yeah, but like the things that
So,
you excel at, like you think above everyone that you know.
oh, I don't think I do anything above everyone that I
Not like
know,
above, but like,
because I think everyone has really strong skills.
okay.
You do things much better than I do. Just being who you are, and 20 years younger.
I think your ability to see people for who they are is a skill that not many people have, and you do that exceptionally well. I think that your patience and forgiveness meter and love capacity is off the charts in a positive way.
Thank you.
Especially thinking about the stuff you told me earlier. I have, dear God, like how, I mean, it seems, I know it's probably not entirely this way, but it seems like you're holding it together fairly well. And what comes across now is like not someone who's like struggling and is in need of help, but like someone who's like calm and taking it one day at a time. And something like that is like almost unteachable. Like,
Years of compartmentalization.
you think that's it?
I know that's it.
Yeah.
I know that's it.
That doesn't sound too healthy.
No. No. Nobody my age is healthy. Because of our childhoods. So, remember, I grew up in the gaslighting generation.
I don't know if you heard her, but she said, nobody my age is healthy. Not because of our childhoods. But she said it, she whispered it, not near her mic. This is a way of me telling her if she's going to whisper, do it in the mic.
Sorry, Daniel. Try.
And I have to laugh, not in the mic, when I get loud.
But yeah, so how we were parented, you guys call gaslighting.
Oh.
That's how we were parented.
I feel hungry. No, you don't. You're not
Exactly.
hungry. You're not hungry. You just ate.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So, like, I just, in that little thing, I had food rations. If I was hungry, too bad, wait till dinner. If you're hungry after dinner, too bad, wait till breakfast.
Oh.
So, There's no snacking. My dad was allowed to have seconds on meals. We were not. I was not.
Oh.
Um, so again, food rationing was a thing. Um,
Kind of sounds like almost primitive. Like the men who go hunt eat first, and
a little bit, a little bit of the person who makes the money gets all the benefits and the privileges and the choices.
Mhm.
Everyone else just suck it up and deal with it. This is your lot in life. Get over it. Move on.
Jeez.
Um, so I mean, there's a lot of that.
Sorry, but I'm curious. When did your mom leave the picture? What,
She died in 2009.
and you were how many years old?
34, 35.
Okay. I don't know. I was just really curious about that.
So yeah, so there's a lot of that shaped everybody my age. We were left on our own to our own devices, no matter how unhealthy mentally, emotionally, or physically they were.
You had to rub some dirt on it and carry on.
Spit on it, wipe it on your pants.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not bleeding out the eyeballs, suck it up, which is why I have a broken neck. So I'm starting to lose my train of thought again.
That's okay. I'll ask. What I mean, shoot.
Sorry.
What
my
advice
generation,
would you
nervous
give?
energy.
No, that's okay.
That's what it was called, nervous energy.
What is it now?
ADHD.
Oh, you're just nervous.
You have nervous energy.
Oh my God.
Go play in the street.
I feel like I don't know when I started. Maybe all my life, but like I was never told you have ADHD until I went to therapy when I was. Oh God, how old was I? 24-ish, maybe. When was COVID?
Exactly. 2017, 18, 2018 to 2022.
Yeah, so 2020, 2021, I started therapy for the first time in my life because that's just
We talked a little bit during that time.
Yeah, we did. You were you were a big part of the reason how I got through all of that. A big part of the reason. Because I don't know if I've really had anyone in my life that like told me I cherish you as a friend and love you unconditionally and nothing was gonna change that. That's a superpower if I've ever seen it.
That's something I had to learn. So one of the people in my life that was a mistake
Mm.
is a person that I still talk to a couple times a year because I'm not a forgiving person. And part of that was survival from my childhood and being told to forgive people that hurt me, but the people that hurt me are told to stop.
Hold on.
And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. So forgiving people was very hard for me. So this person is a twice yearly exercise in learning forgiveness.
What? I don't think my brain wrapped.
I talk to this person. We talk 2 times a year.
Okay.
And the only reason I talk to this person is because this person is somebody who I need to forgive, but it's hard to forgive what they've done. They are remorseful, and they were remorseful, and they were sorry, genuinely. And they're genuinely not a bad person. But the damage they did to me was huge. So, I talked to this person to help me learn forgiveness. to learn to give other people grace, to practice that in a safe, distanced space where I don't get the past trying to live in the present. It's very difficult to leave your past in the past, especially when it affects your present. So he is a person who is like I said, he is an exercise in learning how to be forgiving of other people, which and then is in turn learning how to be forgiving of myself, how to give space for grace for other people, space for grace for myself, which is no one gives grace for themselves. That is something that I'm constantly having to work at. But I believe it's correct. And it's not something I got growing up. So that is something I constantly work on, work through, keep at the front of my heart. Does that make sense?
That takes such a strong person. Holy shit. I mean, I could barely imagine trying to do that, right? I don't. So 2 times a year, you kind of force yourself to like just say hi or have some type of conversation.
We talk, like our birthdays are right behind each other.
Yeah.
So we talk at our birthdays and we talk at Christmas.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Compartmentalizing.
Mm.
That's how we do it.
It hurts to see. Because, you know, now we're taught to like feel our feelings a little bit more, but I mean, you don't do anything you're uncomfortable with, but it's okay to cry.
That is something that sort of consciously trying to practice grace
Mm.
allows me to also practice.
Mm.
Giving myself permission to not do things that are uncomfortable for me or that I don't want to deal with at this moment, but that may make somebody else pleased, happy, get something they want, and actually making it a boundary and learning to go visually in my head, this is a boundary.
I think Santa is popping in. Is that you, Santa? Hello. You want to come up and give hugs, or are you on your merry way?
We do need to rush, but we can do a quick hug.
If you want. Have you ever, I kind of want you to meet Jessica. This is Melissa. I talk so much about her.
Excuse me, Daniel.
What a way to just pause, but in such a tough moment. But we'll be right back. Melissa! Hello! Hey, Mike.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, come in.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
This is Jessica. She's just pouring her heart to me. Nothing to see here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
This is Mike, Melissa. Really good. Good, dear friends. Oh, yeah. Hello.
Where's my hug?
Yeah, it's right here, brother.
Actually, while I'm here, do you mind if I run to the
I know,
bus?
I know, Mike.
Like,
Oh my god, the tree looks amazing.
long car ride.
Yeah, right? Weedle is
Where's Weedle?
in the room, so he won't like
Oh,
bark and stuff.
yeah.
There he is, little goober doober.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, buddy. You wanna come say hi to friends?
You remember me?
You wanna come say hi to friends? Come here.
Only if you can get him.
Yeah, I won't bring him down.
Hi.
Hey, so Mike. Look, everyone, it's Weedle. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I can always edit this out. I can always
Christmas
edit
Eve,
this out.
Sarah. Merry Christmas Eve.
I'm not gonna edit this. Maybe we'll see.
For a second, I thought you were just like.
Get out of here.
It was lovely to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Yes. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to apologize because I told Daniel asked me if you ever got in touch, and I was like, yeah, I think like it was a long time ago, right? And I went and checked, and then I realized like because I looked at the dates, and that was when I got pneumonia.
I was like, yeah, you
And
were
I was
sick.
out,
Yeah.
and then like I never, and then craziness happened. He went into hospital, so it was just like a
Then
really
life
crazy
came upon
time.
you.
So I am so sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, like it wasn't until he brought it up that I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I like never reached back out. So, yeah, well, I do believe in like divine timing. So I'm sure
Yes.
you know we can reconnect.
We literally,
And
the
then-
topic that we were just on was
Oh, yeah.
her generation, like not being able to feel feelings and like, oh God, what else?
Compartmentalizing.
Compartmentalizing.
Yes.
And like just now she was getting like really emotional and she's like, no, I have to throw it away. But I don't want you to throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I just, yeah, I feel unequipped to like know how to like put things in proper places, but I'll hold space as much as I can.
Yeah. You do a good job of it.
I'm a good listener.
You do.
Yeah. You are. Well, I'd love to chat. I'm like,
You wanna hop on the chair and join for a bit?
Just join.
That'd be so fun.
Yes.
And unfortunately,
Five-minute mini
we're
session.
ridiculously late
No.
to get to my parents.
It
So
won't be just 5 minutes.
they're in College
Station.
Station, and we told them we'd be there this morning. So
How was that phone
there's
call?
that.
This afternoon.
They weren't very happy, but it's okay. They're like, you could tell they're trying to be cheery about it. They're like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm sorry. But yeah, so we do have to run. But it was so good to see you.
Good seeing you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Good to see you,
Good to
and
see
hopefully
you.
I'll get a chance to connect with you.
We'll all
Yeah.
have to get together and
Yes,
Have
let's
some
definitely
fun.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Merry Christmas.
you have
Hope
amazing
everything goes
husbands.
well.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
let me
looks
get you
good.
Let me get you a Lego D.
Oh, yes, the
Is that-
Allegro.
Oh yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. Yeah, my parents have a lab that sheds like crazy, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's got pretty bad allergies. So we're like,
Yeah.
we did like a full Santa run. We're like stopping at everyone's places. So we're like, I'm like,
Oh,
wait
thank
for
you.
us, wait.
Yeah. I don't know if you need to take a picture of like the back or anything.
Oh, I know this one, the Allegro 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
Allegro D.
That's a good one, right?
super crazy strong.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All
Let you
right.
get to
Well,
it.
yes.
Safe travels.
Enjoy the rest
Yes.
of Thanksgiving.
Safe travels. Take care.
You too.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, we'll plan something for when we get back.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. If Mike opens it, try to get a little recording of.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so curious. All right.
And also, yeah. You'll see. Yes, sir.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That's adorable.
Did you watch her episode with me?
I did.
Oh my gosh, you did?
I did. It's the first one I watched.
Oh my gosh.
So my cousins, after my uncle passed away, my mom's brother, and I hadn't seen my cousins on my mom's side in decades. Like, one was a baby and one was 2 years old last time I saw them.
Wow.
So they're full-grown adults now, and they've got their own families. And we didn't meet up again until my uncle's funeral. And it was like we'd known each other forever and had no separation. So they're kind of like the brothers that I would have gotten along with, as opposed to the one that I got. And like these are all the kids, and they've got a lot of kids.
Oh my goodness.
One of them's got 4 girls, and the other one's got a boy and a girl.
Those are, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, those are the mom and dad. Oh no, those are all the kids.
Those are all the kids. So yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm thankful that they are in my sphere, and in my life again.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad that they had to wait for my uncle to die for that to happen.
Oh.
But, you know, family. When family lives all over the country, that's what happens.
Did you get to meet up with them?
I did. I went to Pennsylvania a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and spent 4 or 5 days there and hung out with them. And they came down for my brother's celebration of life, and so yeah, we talk all the time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you want me to hold it and interview you like this? So did you feel the need to get closer?
I feel that's just where I sat down, but yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I could bring it closer and we can just be right here.
Just make like a TV frame out of cardboard.
Yeah.
Like on the Muppets.
Yeah. And here we have, oh my gosh. We do that.
So how are you?
With all the craziness of the holidays, I think I'm doing all right. All things considered, I just reached my 1 year anniversary of fire breathing. Where you like, I listen to one meditation every day, and it's been consistent and it's been working. So that's what I've stuck with, and it goes like this. It's like, take a deep breath, and then out, and then half breath, and begin, and it goes for like 30 seconds, and then you breathe out, and
It looks like Lamaze.
and then hold, and like, oh, and that's one. You breathe normal, and you do it again 3 times. 3 times total. Lamont? I never heard of that.
Lamaze?
Oh, Lamaze.
Do you know what Lamaze is?
I should. I feel like I should. I feel like it's a theater thing that I should know.
It's not a theater thing, but when pregnant women are giving birth, they have them do breathing exercises
Oh.
before they push a human out of their hoo-ha.
Right. Let me turn the curtains down. It's kind of blinding me a little bit. Oh, but the lighting doesn't look as good. We were talking about how us being theater people that we like hermiting and we don't like being inside and we don't like sunlight. But sunlight is important.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it is important. Do you put sunscreen on every day?
I used to, but it would make me sick.
Oh my god. Never heard that before. Did you try multiple different types of sunscreens and everything?
Yep.
Oh. That's terrible.
Yeah, so I thought, you know what, maybe I should just not be in the sun. Maybe just use shade as my sunscreen. And that's worked so far.
Well, guess what? All the light particles that are bouncing off from that window are still hitting your face.
But the UV rays are not.
I don't know how that works, so I'm not going to speak more about it. Wait till I get a UV ray expert. I'll show you on the
John
podcast.
Harvey should know something about UV rays, as he is a meteorologist.
Where is he? John Harvey, call us back. What are you
He's
doing?
my favorite. I'm telling you, it's because he called from my number. If you call him from your number, he'll pick up because it's you.
But my phone is being used at the moment.
What can you do?
C'est la vie. I say that so often, and sometimes I say it where it doesn't make sense.
You just need to insert the phonetics of it. Not the
Yeah.
meaning.
Like, oh, yeah, I went to go take out my dog. C'est la vie. Like, what? Such is life.
That's life. What are you gonna do?
You live and you die.
Exactly. That's pretty much all there is.
No! No! We gotta make life worth it. Right? What makes life worth it for you?
I think it changes.
Yeah. What is it right now and what was it before?
I think when I was younger, it was Anticipation.
The anticipation of life.
Anticipation in general. It's just the thing of anticipation. But as I've gotten older, that's fallen away.
Do you write?
Mm-hmm.
How often?
Not often.
Why not?
Not as often as I would like, just because, time, mental space.
I feel like that's because something that I keep thinking back to when I'm talking to you is like the story of this lady who loved writing and loved writing, and she wrote every day or along for a while, and she tried to get things published, and with no luck until like her 50s or 60s or 70s or something, and then finally a publisher was like, oh, I think I kind of like your stuff, and they published it, and immediately like 3 bestsellers into like her, and so it's just out of the blue.
Well, I think that happens to playwrights a lot.
Yeah.
Some playwrights are their style or their point of view does not resonate with a particular audience at a particular time because that audience just is not there yet. But if you look at playwrights and some of their earlier works that maybe got published posthumously, you're like, this is a great play. What did not resonate? And everything is point of view. The reason Stanislavski created what he did is because he hated the way theater was being done. He did not find it realistic. It did not speak to him. So he found a way to make it speak to him. And that's what we use today because that's what it is. But we're already seeing habits and things that don't speak to people anymore, don't speak to the generation. So they're starting to change. You know what I mean?
Something that doesn't speak to me is getting overworked and not getting compensated for it. Why is it such a thing? Like, is theater and community theater, and do they just struggle so much in finances that they can't like get enough grants and etc. to pay people what they're worth, or is it like what is it?
That's a little bit of it, but also theater is expensive. So my budget for Tartuffe, the set, just the set.
At Texas State or?
At Texas State.
$10,000. Oh.
Just the set. Not the painting, not the costume, not the lights, not the labor.
Is that a lot?
Just the set. Is $10,000 a lot of money to you?
Maybe. Yeah, a little bit. For just the set? Maybe I just don't know exactly how much it costs to like put up a good set.
A good set could easily be $25,000 to $40,000. A Broadway set is easily hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And that does not include labor.
True.
Labor, if you want to pay someone what they're worth, $15 to $20 an hour. Think about that for 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
That compounds.
$250 an hour.
Right. And it could take 400 hours to put a set together. That's just labor for the set. Doesn't include costumes.
That's
all
like
that
$100K.
Kind of so it can be very, very expensive.
Mm.
So to offset the price, you have to then sell a ticket. Can you afford a $400 ticket to a show?
No. I mean, no.
A $50 ticket to a show?
Barely, yeah.
A $10 ticket to a show?
Yeah.
$10 are doable, right?
Yeah.
$50?
You'd have to
It's a
really...
little harder. And it's not... You could do a $10 ticket twice a month. No big deal. Wouldn't hurt you. A $50 ticket, that's maybe once every 3 months.
But it's also
Maybe.
like the value you're getting, I believe, because like you would spend easily like 100 to 200 to go see a concert, right? But like, I mean, okay,
because of the expense.
Right, but like I was looking at some improv shows, and like some reputable are like $50 a ticket, and like they're selling out every weekend, and like what do they have? Oh, they have like a whole like. Maybe is it brand? Is it the people that they're bringing in? Maybe it's all of the above.
What is their cost?
I don't know.
So that's a, I mean that's just financially that's kind of a lot of, and it's always been the problem. It's always gonna be the problem. Is because people
Yeah.
have gotten used to free entertainment with television.
Hmm.
They forget that all those annoying commercials is what pays for the television, pays for those TV shows, pays for those movies, pays for the Netflix. That covers the expense of it. With live theater, that's not going to cover the expense of it. Even if you have a sponsor, like
Can we bring a representative from T-Mobile to speak to the audience during intermission? No.
so, a lot of theaters do have sponsors, like San Pedro Playhouse. They get Valero as a sponsor because Valero's headquarters there in San Antonio.
Nice.
They get Whataburger as a sponsor because Whataburger's in San Antonio. HEB because where's HEB? San Antonio.
Yes, I knew that.
So these are big corporations that have money to do things like buy a full house of tickets to give to students who are too poor to see theater.
Hmm.
But it costs that kind of money to do that.
Hmm.
And even still, you're still stretched immensely to get a show on and to get it up and to get it looking beautiful and wonderful when you don't have the money to do it.
Everything comes at.
And you want to pay your actors and you pay your people. You pay someone to paint that set. You pay somebody to hang those lights. You pay someone to operate the light board and the sound board. You have to pay someone to be working backstage crew. You have to pay these people.
Why does everything have to come back to money? Not everything, but a lot of
We're
things.
in America. That's another conversation.
It could be now.
Could be.
I mean, you want to move to England?
I do. I've been looking at places in Scotland because Scotland is a little bit less expensive, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
And Scottish men.
Is it true that like, not that you don't have much freedom of speech in England, but like, you could say the wrong thing really easily?
You can do that anywhere. I mean, you're not going to get beheaded.
Oh, you won't get arrested for saying the wrong thing?
No.
Well, that's good.
No. The amount of things that I heard when I was living there, I was like, wow. Okay.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna sound like a big dummy. Do they does England have like constitutions and like amendments and things?
They have parliament,
Parliament?
which is their democracy.
Do they have like the rules to exist by kind of thing?
Yeah, they have their laws,
Yeah.
just like we have our laws.
But like America's like the Ten Amendments, the Constitution, and the First Amendment.
But
blah,
you
blah.
also have to remember that America was founded on propaganda. And propaganda is how it gets anything done.
That was founded on immigrants. No.
Propaganda. Those immigrants were not good people.
Yeah.
Puritans are terrible people.
I heard some
Puritans are
stories.
horrible. Oliver Cromwell, hello.
George Washington.
Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector of England, was a Puritan, which is why he didn't last long.
Mm.
He shut theaters down. He's going to hell. Yeah, Puritans' goal was to persecute. They wanted to go somewhere else to persecute people based on the fact that somebody else didn't think the way they did. White people, man.
You said your religious was it Lutheran?
Methodist?
Methodist. The people that like to serve others.
Mhm.
Is that right? Okay.
We eat in the name of the Lord.
Mm.
But we also if you need a fence belt, you don't have money for it, we'll come help you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think I talked to you a little bit on the phone about like religion and stuff, but I don't know exactly what I am. I like to be spiritual, but I haven't found my home yet, and I don't know if I ever will. But I won't like try to find a place. But
Did you read those books I suggested?
the
No.
toe the poo toe.
The Tao of Pooh and the Day of Piglet?
Yeah, I have them on
No.
my list on Amazon. But okay, reading is just really tough in general. ADHD, dyslexia, but like, so I've been the way I've been fighting that is the big kind of theme of the past month has been I can suck at it, but I can't skip. One sec. Excuse me. I can suck at it, but I can't skip. So I suck at reading right now. Terrible. I do not read. But the past 2 weeks or so, I have a bookshelf by my bed now, and I take down Atomic Habits, and I could suck at reading, as in I could read 1 paragraph, I could read 2 pages, I could read 3, but I can't skip. So every night before bed, I pull out my phone, I flash, and I read, and however far I get, and I get really into it sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, oh, that's a new chapter, and sometimes
This
that's not reading. That's not reading, but
is not a book.
no, cause I'm holding the book and I have to flip it with my hand because I'm holding my camera for light, and so I have to like flip like the page with my hand, and I hold the book because I'm under the covers. Yeah, you know.
Why are you reading under the cover?
Because the bright light shines on Marley. So I don't want to disturb her, but but sometimes I stand up, and but if I read early enough.
I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Read out loud.
It does help, but then I get tired. So I mix it in.
So the good thing about the Tao of Pooh and the Day of Piglet is there's dialogue with characters. So you can choose your own voice. You can choose the voice for the narrator. You can do your best Pooh voice.
Is it like a
and
script?
Piglet voice and
Where it has
Rabbit
the-
voice.
Where it has the character names and the dialogue.
It's like a regular book with dialogue.
I'm telling you, I don't read much, but I'm trying. I'm trying because I want to work out my brain. And now
Read
I've been
it out loud.
working out more too.
Your brain is beautiful and big, so
I got to college somehow.
and as a former college professor who's had to deal with people where I've constantly been, how did you get into college?
The bar's pretty low. No.
In some places, it's like they just wanted your money because you have 0 skills that will help you succeed in college.
Oof. I wonder if that's. Oh God. That's probably mean to say.
People are not prepared for what college and university is. It's not like advanced high school. It's something completely different.
It's not AP high school.
It requires all of your focus. It requires you to have discipline, and it requires you to
Those 8 a.m.
have
classes.
maturity enough to choose to do your work over going to Zelix. And a lot of people don't. And they get mad because they don't make an A for showing up and falling asleep in class. And they're under the impression that that's good enough. Because that's what high school taught them.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other river to flow down. So back to the pivot.
Yes, I did want to touch base on the whole career change thing, and sometimes I feel like the ADHD doesn't let me focus, which, like, that sounds duh to say out loud.
You are actually absolutely right. It does not allow you to focus.
I'm chewing caffeine gum right now.
Okay. That's a choice.
Because I don't like coffee. It kind of tastes like coffee a little bit, but it
Coffee's
helps.
delicious.
This is the only thing that affects me. Coffee doesn't really affect me. Energy drinks doesn't really affect me. It just makes my heart rate go up, and I don't feel more energized. I just feel anxious. But with caffeine gum, it helps me to focus a little bit more.
Is it the caffeine or the chewing of the gum which gives your brain
I think it's the
something
chewing.
else-
I think it's the chewing.
Something else to occupy your thought?
Absolutely. Because I could chew regular gum and it feel similar.
So I wonder if we had a conversation like this over like air hockey. What would that be?
I'm trying to think if I have any game we can play while.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that way your
Wanna
activation,
play marbles?
your,
No.
your physical activation brain is activated and occupied while your psychological brain is then able to get on the road that you want to use.
What if we draw something together?
We could draw. We could simultaneously draw.
Yeah, show each other what we draw.
Yep, yep. You have a tremendous amount of stuffed house. There's stuffed things everywhere in your house.
Oh, I know. I kind of really hate it, but
I mean, you don't hate it that much
I do.
because it still persists.
Oh, how dare you?
State the obvious.
I live with it. I put up with it. But that's something I want to change.
So I'm also a person of piles and things, again, because the out of sight, out of mind
Yeah.
situation. But also, I've noticed that a lot of the things that, a lot of the reason I have things out has a lot to do with the fact that for me is inanimate objects always had an animate soul and a life. So I'm very sentimental about things. And sometimes it's to the point where I can't physically make a decision if I should throw something out. And then I start thinking, oh my gosh, I'm adding to the waste that's on the planet. So, and I'm like, is that a tactic my brain is using to get me to keep it?
Totally. Or maybe not, but
Yeah, or am I just on a side quest to save the planet through, saving bags and not throwing away things that I don't need? But again, that's a digression. It's a huge digression right there. Do you have any questions for me? About anything?
Well, I have a comment because
Okay.
I kind of, if I could throw a lot of things away and live minimally, I think I would. But a lot of this stuff isn't mine. But
Do you have emotional attachment to inanimate objects?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to get rid of this because this shirt was from this one thing and I really loved it. But maybe I should just tell myself that was in the past. You enjoyed it. You were present. You were in the moment, and now you can move on, and make room for more. I'm kind of drawing like a little Johnny Bravo-esque thing. I'm not sure.
Johnny Bravo.
This is what it
Cracks
looks like
me
so
up.
far.
Just let my-
I do have a question for you.
Yes.
It was, and maybe you do want to close the book / not go back, but when you were talking to me about not feeling kind of that fulfillment, well, hey, okay. My brain's the gears are working in the brain. Maybe the finance stuff is a necessary component in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you can like either ask around or find the tools to make your own business profitable. Like, people have an idea of what starting your own business is, but like even this, you could say I'm starting my own business in like content creation or making my own brand and stuff. That's a business. What business can you make? What business would you make?
I don't know, because there's a part of me that's it does not like business.
What,
Like
mhm.
I don't, deep down fundamentally in my Neanderthal genes, I guess, business is very one-sided. In there, I have an aversion to it, even though I worked retail for numerous years, which made me part of it. I worked retail for many years. I was a teacher for many years. I've done many, 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 many things. But one thing that I noticed about business is it becomes all-consuming.
What do you mean by that?
It becomes your life as opposed to your means for having life.
But if you were doing something, so let's put like what you think about this word called business aside. But if you were doing something that like you were marketing, selling to people, but like what if you enriched their lives somehow? What if you were helping people, but it was still a business in the sense of you were selling them a service or product or conversation or something, but all it is like profitability.
Profitability.
Profitability. So something that comes to mind is like something like Melissa. She has a business in like healing trauma and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like while it is a business and maybe it does consume her life, but what if she loves it in the sense because like it gives her purpose. It gives her like this is what I love to do. Because it helps people and like making money isn't the goal, it's to help people and the money comes because I help people. You know?
Well, that would be fabulous.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if the
that's and maybe that's part of the problem. The reason that I don't have the ability to make money for some reason. Part of me feels like if anybody that I come in contact with, and part of it is my religious upbringing and what we believe,
Mhm.
you should be trying to help people regardless. Like that's not your bread and butter. That's you as a human being helping where you see you can help. And making money is a different entity. And I don't quite get how to blend the two.
I hear
So
Melissa talking.
one thing that I love and that is always in my head is storytelling. I've always had stories going on in my head at all times. There's always a storytelling program, a narrative of some sort running in one of the side programs that runs at all times on my hard drive in my head. Always.
Your mind palace.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Sherlock. And that does not change. That's who I am. That is something that helped me get through COVID and the isolation there because I was at my dad's house in the country. And that can be very difficult for someone who does theater when you have to go live where people like to tip cows and think, trailer races are a thing, things like that. And I would go for a walk every day and I would start telling myself stories and they would just come to my head. And I started writing them down. Some of them were specifically for my friend Tanya. So my friend Tanya, her cousin is Alan Tudyk, who was Wash on Firefly, and he does like creature voices and he just did all kinds of things. He was Hey Hey. He was the voice of Hey Hey.
Oh, in Moana?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So he's that guy. And so I've heard a lot of stories over the years about him. And so I started writing these little vignettes to sort of entertain myself and her. And she showed them to her husband, and he thought they were funny. And so it was just one of those little things where, like, having these little story vignettes were there to entertain and to sort of, break away from the monotony and the isolation that COVID was.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, if you're gonna make a film of these, I'll be in it." And I'm like, "Great! I don't know how to get money together to do that. That's one thing that I've learned about myself. People don't want to give me money.
I think that's
People don't want to give me money.
Oh my gosh, I can hear Melissa
After
just
years
raving.
of retail, I have learned people don't want to give me money.
I would call that a limiting belief.
But it's entirely possible. Yes, and at some point in time, I will let you read them, even though most of them are kind of, you got to know what the inside scoop to get them. But
Are you telling me that you have an inside joke and that you're not letting people into your inside joke?
Well, if you're not in on the inside joke, it's not funny.
Yeah. Man,
You
maybe
know,
there
when
is some
you
divine
enjoy the game.
intervention working here.
I told you, your mama like you're a friend. After the world ends, our molecules will bump into each other.
You think we came from the same star?
It's entirely possible.
Or similar?
Together, we came from the same nebula.
What is that thing? There's you know, like I'm thinking about my friend. Hey, I'm just thinking about you. I just want to give you a call. That's crazy. I was just talking about, you know, like that kind of. What is that? There's something there, isn't there?
The universe saying you need to connect to this person. It's like if you dream about someone you haven't talked to in a while. That
What do you
means
think-
you need to talk to them.
You're so right.
So I need to call Caroline Bobbitt.
She just got
She got engaged.
engaged. Yes, I saw that. I'm completely off social media, but when I do go on, I see like sometimes some things. And I saw that and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. That's awesome. Yes. Why don't you? You should.
I should.
Some people call the universe God, like / God, like that similar energy. What do you think about that?
To me, the universe is the place where we exist and that we were where we came from. God is the entity that created it all.
Sometimes when I pray, I sometimes say like, hey God, and you know, like I said, I don't know what my religious standpoint is, but when I do try to like pray and talk to God, I sometimes I say like, hey universe, if you're listening, and it doesn't quite have the same kind of pull as when I say, God, please help me out, like, or do that, you know, like I ask or I share, or it feels a little different.
It's focused. You're focusing your energy in one point, as opposed to the universe is an unending points, and it could go anywhere.
Ooh, never thought of it that way.
So if you were not in the industry that you are in now, if you did not have the artistic sensibilities that you have now, where would you go?
I don't know, because I wouldn't be that person. Like I'm not that person, so I don't know what I would be if I was that person. Cause like right, like if I still had my core personality, cause I feel like the creative sparks, and because I am who I am, I'm doing the things I'm doing. I'm genuinely curious, and that's why I love having conversations with people. And I love entertaining, and I love making people laugh and smile and bring positivity and joy. And I think that's like a core part of me. And so I don't know what I would be if I wasn't me, you know? You kind of asked me that. That's how I interpreted it, at least. Like, who would you be if you weren't you? Like, I don't know. I'm only me. I don't know what I would be. Unless I misunderstood.
What side quest would you like to go on?
If I could be anyone else?
If you had the opportunity to just hit pause on this game and open up a side quest, a secret side quest with a secret life, what would it be?
I'd visit a it's influenced by who I am now, but I would visit a place that had like creatures and monsters to slay, and you know, instead of meeting up together and work on a project to build a business, you would get together and get equipment together to go raid or go defeat a big monster that's harming a village. I think it'd be really cool to be in that kind of world. I think that's why I like gaming. I like visiting other worlds,
Mm-hmm.
envisioning myself in them, being the hero of the story.
You are a hero of your story.
Why did I know you were gonna say something like that? I try to be. You know the saying, that the hero and the villain have the same backstory,
Mm-hmm.
both writhing with pain, and one of them says, and the villain says, "I want everyone to experience what I've experienced," and the hero says, "I want to make sure that nobody experiences what I've experienced." In the way, and that in that way, I think you might be a little correct. That I don't want anyone to experience the stuff that I've experienced. I begrudgingly admit that it's made me a better person, but but I still don't think I'd wish someone to go through the struggle and to that piercing level. Maybe their own, but that's something that I'm kind of struggling to find the emotions that I feel around, like that part of my life. That do I feel? I mean, of course, maybe not, of course, but do I find forgiveness? Do I find anger? Do I find resentment? Do I find kind of forgive and forget? Carry on? It almost feels like there's something yet to be solved. There's a dragon left to be slain
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to really unshackle myself and really feel like feel the weights lifted off of myself. There's something that I need to figure out. Not that holds me back, but in a way, yes. But yeah, that I carry around with me. That at that point of my life, you know, I it felt like I lost everything as an actor. You all of the social standings, all of your friends, acquaintances,
Mm-hmm.
that in my mind defined who I was, and I put so much importance on that. I would be kind of like a jester in the sense of that I wouldn't I'd act a fool and be comfortable, but I would greatly care what people thought. And now I like to say I don't care what people think, but I think I still very much do. And maybe that's the human of me. Um, but I really, really, like, I did things to make sure, like, I was viewed like a cool, good person in their eyes, and so I held other people's values and opinions of me so greatly. And I think part of it was because I didn't really have values. I couldn't have sat down and told you. I think like my top 5 values are honor, truthful, giving proper energy to things, um, good intention, good intentions in things you do, presence, being in the present. I couldn't tell you that. I could be like, I could kind of like maybe get a little sense of it, but not really. And so, kind of when my whole world came crashing down, people, as you know, people were like, oh, I don't associate with Daniel anymore. He he he's not my friend. He's a terrible person, and without even talking to me. But the terrible thing is that at the time, if they were to talk to me, I was such a people pleaser and valued others people's opinions above mine, so much so where I would say, "Oh my gosh, no, you're right. You're right. Everything that you just said is right, even if it wasn't." And give in to that because I still wanted to look good. Oh, am I the bad guy? Okay, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be, yeah, that's me. I'll, oh, life wants to make an example of me right now. Yeah, I'll be that guy. Then, holy shit, that sounds sounds awful to think about someone doing.
But of course, that's not who you are. And that's never, never, ever, ever under any circumstance could that be who you were. And I told you that.
Yeah, you did.
And the thing about those people is those people are also not fully formed people. They are people that get their values from TikTok. And they jump on that bandwagon. And they want to ride that because someone on TikTok told them to. And that's where they find their importance. And they don't actually bother to stop and think and look at the situation. And think, what is the truth of the situation? What is bullshit? Who's playing a victim? Which is what it was. Because you did not do anything wrong. And those are people that are temporary in your life and do not need to be on your timeline.
In a way, I'm grateful that the people left my life, so it made room for more genuine, loving people that wanted the best for me, versus wanted a show for me or something. Like Melissa, she's, she knows everything and a lot of things, and holds space and is loving and caring and understanding, and knows like that's what humans are. And I almost want to tell the audience a little bit of like the context of.
That's up to you. It's your life.
So back during COVID times, and I'll preface this with saying, I don't. My goal isn't to take away the experience of someone else, that someone else had of me, because I don't know. I wasn't in that person's shoes, and maybe there was, there's validity in what they're experiencing. I don't know. I'm not that person. But now I know the person that I am. But what I'm referring to is my ex really came after me on social media. She's really good with her words, and I wouldn't say that I am. And so it felt that it turned a lot of people against me, and I felt really ostracized. And the kind of crazy part is, like, I would never do it, but I thought about the idea of taking my own life. Just the idea of it. Like, what would it look like? And the part is that I imagined, like, live streaming it and being like, this is what you guys make me do, kind of thing. And just like that's like the extent of it. And like, how much was I like, what does that say about who I was, in the sense of, like, what does that say of how social media / the importance I put on my online presence, and what opinions of others of me were. Hmm.
What were you wanting to affect with those thoughts?
What do you mean?
Well, those thoughts had potential actions behind them,
Mm-hmm.
and actions have effects.
And so, I don't know. I don't know what what I what effects did I want? Maybe to show the pain that I was in, that I perhaps wasn't allowed, that I felt I wasn't allowed to feel. Since I was the bad guy, I wasn't allowed to feel any pain. I wasn't allowed to be human. I wasn't allowed to go through tough things. Well, being a guy, being a typical, quote unquote, stereotypical hetero guy that can't show feelings, and which is funny to say that I mean, being in theater and you show a lot of feelings, but when you're not on stage, you know, or when I'm visiting home, kind of have to put on this act. I mean, like I said, I didn't go to therapy until that situation happened, and which is a good thing, you know. In a lot of ways, it did bring a lot of good, which you know, maybe it is a blessing in disguise. I agree with you now that I am not the bad guy that people said I was.
You're not.
And I thank you every day in my mind, like that you were such a rock for me, giving me like that what's the word, that type of love that type of love that you didn't care or expect anything in return, and you didn't care how many times I fucked up or messed up, and you're like, nope, I'm still your friend, I'm still your soul Adam, you're still my happy bunny, and I love you. And you told me at the time to wrap a blanket around me, and that's you hugging me. And I don't know, I don't even know if now I know how truly impactful that was. I'm starting to get like a little grasp of it, but anyways, I was saying that maybe that whole thing, in a way, put me on a different trajectory. Like maybe I was heading down a more narcissistic, you know, eyes of Hollywood. I have to act a certain way. I have to do certain things. I have to, but now I'm going towards being your most fully authentic self, being fully present and caring about genuineness and vulnerability and deep, meaningful relationships versus superficial, like, hey, what's up, man? How are you? I'm doing so good. Yeah. And rarely, like, no, I'm kind of struggling now. Now when people call me up, I'm like, I'm like, oh, like, hey, how you doing, man? I'm like, oh, you know, today's been a little tough, and I tell them how I really am. Unless there's someone I don't know, then I give them like the, oh, I'm doing
Customer service face.
yeah, I give them the customer service, like, I do this funny thing when I'm at a restaurant, and partly because I was a waiter for many years. They would come up and say, "Hello, how are you guys doing?" And I'm like, "Terrible, how are you?" And if they react like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" Like, like no, I'm fine, I'm fine. I was just
Seeing if you're listening.
yeah, seeing if you're listening, and just a little dark humor. But but usually I get a lot of like oh, how are you guys doing? Terrible, how are you? Good. Anyways, oh, cool, yeah, I'm doing good too. So what specials we have for today, like, you know, and that, oh god, my ADHD is ADHDing.
That's okay. You want to show pictures? Do we need to pivot?
Yeah,
get back on track?
sure. This is my guy. He's doing finger snaps. He's like, you cool.
This is
Oh, wow.
how my brain expresses things.
I love that. That's like a butterfly. You see that? This is you. This is your head and your body and your wings.
Everything just kind of comes out as it comes out.
This is your tether to the things you have in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You need to cut that umbilical cord. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Just float away into the ether.
Yeah, it's letting you not fly. That's how I interpret it.
That came out of the conversation you just had about the past. Because I remember that. I remember being very, very angry. It's a good thing I was not around those people because I would have beat the shit out of her. Stupid idiot.
You and my therapist both. I'm like, why are you guys getting angry? And they're like, what? And my
'Cause
therapist
it's
was like,
wrong.
why aren't you angry? And at the time, you know, and then I allowed myself to have that anger of like, you're right, that was fucked up.
Yeah. That was messed up. That was her playing victim when she wasn't one. And then again, that has a lot to do with generation of people seeing victims, having words to now speak out and applying them as if they were a victim when they don't know what a victim is. But they want to try and apply it. They want to try to learn the word. It's very like when a kindergartner learns a new word and they say it all the time, even though it doesn't make any sense, but they like the way, you know, they're trying to figure out how it works in their life. Saw a lot of the same things with a lot of people who were claiming victimhood of something that was just really banal, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't know victim. If you're thinking that has oppressed you, you don't know anything.
That's crazy that you say that too, because that's exactly what my therapist said. He was like, no, I've
Therapist in his
been around.
50s?
No, he was like,
Is he youthful beyond his years?
he was a very like grounded gay man. I actually don't know if he was gay. I think he did admit to me that he wasn't straight, and I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. Maybe that's just what a characteristic that stuck. And I mean, hey, I'm still not perfect, and
Don't worry, you're judging yourself. Don't
yeah, I'm
judge
judging
yourself.
I'm judging the
Just
hell out
do
of
it.
myself. But the thing he said is like, I work with people that have gone through real abuse, and it makes me mad for those people. And at the time, I couldn't really grasp what he was saying, and maybe a part of me didn't want to believe what he was saying as true, because I had so much like I love. No, not gonna accept that. But I used to love really beating myself up, almost to the point of like literally hitting myself. Maybe even I think I even did at some points. And I mean, my parents didn't teach me how to like take care of
Self-abuse.
myself. And yeah, like as Hispanics grow up, it's like you gotta just bottle it all in, and take it out on others, and be angry. And oh my god, I worked so much on my anger that I didn't know how to really channel. That's why fire breathing works tremendously on controlling emotion, and it feels like a wave that I can breathe through now. Not controlling per se, like 'cause when you're feeling an emotion, you want to like lash out. Anger, you want to lash out. Some people like to push up against walls and release that.
I used to
Breathing.
punch walls.
That I don't think works because
Does in the moment.
no, because lashing out, you're like feeding the monster, right?
You are releasing tension that builds up when you try to suppress your anger.
That's why you push up against the wall. You're releasing that tension, but it doesn't. You don't get hurt, and it doesn't like. It's not the same aggressive lashing out. It's like you're pushing up against something, and you're and it like
It's
releases.
not
it.
nearly as satisfying.
Oh,
Promise you.
I yeah, but it might be
So-
healthier. Maybe.
So one thing, and obviously men and women express themselves differently, Um, historically, women who cry a lot are seen as emotionally unstable.
Hmm.
And there's that really great classic quote, I'm not crying because I'm upset, I'm crying because I can't set you on fire. And
Who said that?
it's just common amongst us women. And and it's that you have to have some sort of not just release of the tension, but your energy has to exit your body at a very high rate of acceleration for something to get space emotionally for you to be able to spread out what you're feeling, look at each aspect of what you're feeling on an individual basis, but you have to have room for that.
And when we pack our schedules to the brim, we don't make room for that, do we?
No.
Jessica, McMichael, do we?
No.
Do we?
Daniel Aguilar, you don't. Spider-Man. So, yeah. So a lot of, I know a lot of people are like, no, you need to, when you're angry, you should find a calming thing. And I think when you're frustrated, you should find a calming place. I think when you're angry, you need to really let that explode out. Don't explode out on a person, because that is jail time. And there's never anyone who's worth the jail time. But the physical act of exploding out that emotion tires you out. You know, when a toddler has a tantrum and they cry until they pass out, and it's like screaming death cry, and then all of a sudden they're out for 6 hours. It's that same thing. Sometimes that anger is at such a high level with so many complicated things that you really need to get it out and exhaust yourself until you are in a place where you don't have any room to emotionally put up the fight that you do when you're just regularly angry and you want to fight. Does that make sense? That explosion of fury is exhausting.
How would you, what is an example of a way that you could explode your anger in a healthy way? Because I know,
Yeah.
I know there is, right? Like, I could think of a few examples. What are ways that you would suggest then?
It kind of depends on who you are. Are you an auditory, a physical? Are you a kinesthetic person, an auditory learner?
Kinesthetic, yeah.
Then you're going to need to
Define kinesthetic real quick.
Kinesthetic meaning movement of the body, using your body, physically moving things. So kinesthetic learners have to do something to learn it. You can't tell them the instructions; they have to do it to learn it.
Thank you, Miss.
So
McMichael.
if you're a kinesthetic learner and if you're a kinesthetic expressor, physically doing something is going to be the avenue that best serves you and best lets you release anger. So whether that is taking your couch and beating the living crap out of it or tearing it to pieces, destructive, expensive, and you need a new couch, but it gets everything out.
I feel like some people would say that's unhealthy, though. I don't know what is unhealthy or not, but is that like a generational thing, you think, or is that like a? Because what I heard,
a lot of people who want to, when you're angry, diffuse it by not letting it be released. That doesn't work. The thing about anger is it wants to be released. It wants to get away from you. It wants to get out of you.
I just imagine like a couple was in a room and one person just got so angry they started beating up their couch. Like, how awful would the partner be? Like oh my gosh, is my partner?
Because people view, and there's a good reason, a lot of times physical violence toward a couch ends up being physical violence toward a person. That's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how physically violent you would like to be toward a person, unless they're actively trying to kill you. So a lot of times people say if you're angry, walk away. If you're a physical expressor and you're angry at a person to the point where you do want to throttle them or kick them in the nuts, can't do that anymore, it's illegal. Or cause them bodily harm because they've infuriated me, walk away from them so you don't have jail time. But you still need to physically do something. I had a friend.
Like go out and run.
He would run for 24 hours straight.
Oh, there you go.
When he had things that were going to make him furious and explode, he would run for 24 hours straight. Now,
I just wrapped my head around that.
I can run down the stairs, and that's about it.
24 hours. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? How? He's like, I exhaust myself, and then I could figure those things out. The emotional content that is taking over my body and making that fury and that explosion and that, red with rage, and something clicked and I just couldn't control myself. It's because you physically need to express something and you're trying not to express it. So if it needs to be expressed, then physically, then go do something very physical.
Yeah.
Beating up a couch usually doesn't do much. You can replace a couch. Beating up a person could have lasting forever damage.
Maybe go beat up that couch that's on the side of the road that people are
There's
throwing out.
always
Maybe
one.
don't go beat up your nice couch, Maybe go.
I mean, that's why you get a lot of people who do very physically active sports. One thing that I thought was great about fencing,
Mm-hmm.
the entire purpose was to stab somebody.
Oh.
So if I had a bad day, I could get on strip and I could channel my bad day, my frustration, my anger, that way before it got to the point where I was exploding and wanted to put my fist through a wall.
Mm-hmm. I never. Do you feel angry often? You think, or as often as any other human?
Do you not think that I do?
Yeah. Like when I think of you, I can't even imagine you being angry. But like, I mean, I could see it, because anyone could get angry. But
it's one of all the emotions that we all have. Yeah, I had a.
What do you think about? What do you think about that? When someone was like, when someone says, Jessica, what? No, you could never harm anyone. You could never be angry. You could never. No, Jessica. No, she's such a lovely person. She would never even get angry.
Compartmentalization. So yeah, I get angry at a lot of things. And there have been times when I get so angry, I literally had to take myself away from a person because I was going to beat them over the head with a book.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Book. I started drawing the lower half of my body as a book. It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Go on.
And I physically left because the person wasn't worth jail time. But yeah, I get very angry about things. But again, that compartmentalization is what keeps me from acting on that until I can go somewhere and do something physical. Walking, running, punching, whatever, to physically get that out of my body and away from my person, that energy.
Mm-hmm. I could sit here and tell you, wait, don't tell me. Compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
I could sit here and tell you that
Compartmentalizing.
the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the lips, the teeth, the tongue. Thanks, Mozan. I could sit here and tell you that compartmentalizing might be unhealthy, but I'd feel like a fraud because I wouldn't be able to say like you should do this instead because I don't freaking know. And I don't even know if it's truly a bad thing. I don't know. I don't have the research on it, or the. It just sounds like bottling. It sounds like you're bottling things up, but like putting the bottles in their own place.
They're very organized.
They're very organized bottles.
And the reason they're very organized, you know, when you go to rehearsal, you don't bring your personal crap into the rehearsal space.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So it doesn't affect others.
Right.
The energy.
Exactly. You leave your personal crap to your person. And compartmentalizing is the same thing. I may have something that's bothering me, but it's not your problem. And I don't need to bring it into our lovely afternoon together because that, you know, the emotional fart that ruins the whole thing.
Well,
You know what I
in
mean?
this scenario, it might be more okay. Like, yeah, let's tell it. Let's freaking experience it in front of the camera and share and learn to and freaking teach the audience something. Whoever the heck might listen might take something away from it, and that's the goal, I think, in conversations like these.
So one thing about my Jen is that we are all emotionally unhealthy, but the thing about us is we have a constant voice in our head that says, get the fuck over it. You're fine. You're not dead. Stop having a pity party. Get your shit done. And I don't see that from other generations that are younger than me who spend a lot of time making faces for the TikTok about how they're oppressed and how terrible they're whatever. And I'm like, you have no idea.
Do you think the balance is somewhere in the middle, or do you think you're right, like where you are?
I think every person has a different right for them. So compartmentalizing is what I am really great at because...
Okay, so I think I know what that means, but what do you mean when you say compartmentalizing? Compartmentalizing.
So, for example, I have a lot of emotional feelings and triggers and things that I'm working through about the death of my brother. Do I need to keep that in my hand in front of my face, shove it in everyone else's face, and constantly repeat, I'm having problems working through the death of my brother with every conversation?
No one wants to.
No one wants to hear that. That does not help.
Unless they're really good friends.
So, but if that's the only conversation we ever had.
Oh, yeah, then it would be like exhausting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what I have my own little slot. It's got a little shelf. That's where that goes. That's where dealing with that situation goes. When I have to go to work and deal with somebody else's IRA because they didn't sign their beneficiary forms and because they're pissed off because they can't get their money, even though it's their own damn fault, because they didn't sign their forms, I can't bring that thing about my brother there because that doesn't solve this problem. I have to be focused on this problem right here. This emotional thing is going to interfere with my ability to deal with this problem. So it's going to stay here till this problem is solved and I have no problems to deal with, and then I have a hot moment in my car on the way back and I hear a song that reminds me of him, then I can take that out and little by little peck away at all the things that are part of that problem. But when I get home, I can't do that because my dad has his own issues with that. He is not a person that I can bring that out to because he does not know how to process his emotional problems and his traumas. So that goes back in the box. And now I have to deal with what I have to deal with, to do all the things I have to remember, how to feed the cats, and did I feed the dog, or walk the dog, and did I do the laundry, and did I pay this bill, and I have to have a Zoom meeting at 4 o'clock. So all those things that I have to have in the front of my mind so that I can accomplish, I can't have any of that stuff with my brother in there. So that goes back in the closet. This stuff is taken care of, and that's just part of life. So it's almost like I'm categorizing and organizing my emotional traumas in the order and in the bandwidth in which they can be dealt with for however long they can be dealt with. because I'm not going to sit around having a pity party. Oh, my brother died and I'm sad. I just need to wallow in my sadness. No, everyone in life has somebody that's died. That's how life works. You live, you die. Wallowing and trying to make it everybody else's problem is not only narcissistic and selfish, it doesn't solve the problem at all. So that is part of the reason compartmentalization kind of works, especially for my generation, because we had so many things. And who wants to sit around in a bad mood feeling sad all the time? People who want attention for being sad all the time. Because they get a reward for being sad because somebody gives them attention. Not interested in being that person. Those people annoy me, so I don't want to be that person. So when there is time and space to discuss things or to release something, great. But I'm not going to carry it around on the front and paint my face with all my tragedy and pain and all the shitty things that have happened to me, because it doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't help me work through them.
Do you ever feel envious of the people that get to do that?
They annoy the crap out of me. And I think that's my generational thing of, oh, you fucking whiny baby. Get over yourself.
But no envy. Nothing of like, I wish I could do that. Why? Like, that kind of, you think that's why you, no, nothing? Okay.
No.
I was just curious.
No, I don't envy that behavior at all. Like I said, that annoys the shit out of me. I have people in my life that will do this, and my patience goes.
Do you think they're weaker in that regard?
It's not weakness, it's a habit.
I like that you said that.
It's not a weakness. It's a habit. That's what it is. They have a habit of reliving their tragedy because at one point in time it got them something, whether it was the attention they needed that they hadn't been getting, or it gave them a reason or a feeling like they'd been heard and they hadn't before, but it gave them something. It taught them to behave a certain way because it got them something.
What gave them?
Emotionally spooging all over the moment and having, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And
constantly bringing their shit to the table and making everything about their shit.
Speaking of habits, Atomic Habit, the book I've been reading, says every action you take is a tally towards the person you're becoming. And so like if the newer generations are emotionally, would you call it splooging?
Spooging all over the place.
all over.
You know what I mean by spooging, right? You know what spooge
Is that like
means?
a sponge?
Spooge is another word for ejaculating.
The newer generations call it splooge now, with the L. Splooging. Is that what you said?
Spooge.
Spooge. Now it's
Same thing.
splooge. So yes, emotional masturbation, and if you keep doing that, you're like taking, like, that. You're becoming a person that does that more often.
It becomes your identity.
Yeah.
It's how you define yourself is by your tragedies.
That's something that the book goes into too.
And that serves you nothing because your tragedies are in your past. Even if they're affecting your present, they're in your past. And as long as you're trying to continually cry over your past, you're still living in the past.
Oof.
You're not looking at your future. You're not looking at your present. You're not looking at what you can accomplish or what you will. You're only looking at what happened previously. And that's gone. That's a memory. It's a painful memory. It's a terrible memory. Maybe you can't, maybe you lost a leg from it. I don't know. But it's in the past. And it's not going to change by you splooging all over your friends emotionally. Because you are either lacking the desire to or the actual ability to move past it. Because it's a process. And some people aren't given the tools to do the process. That's why they get stuck.
And for anyone listening, and maybe there's some things that have been said throughout today that you don't quite agree with, and that's absolutely fine. But I think the reason I love doing these types of podcasts and conversations is I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. And And I think you can learn something from almost anything, almost anyone. Take out the almost. I think you can learn something from anything and everyone. Something.
Even if it's what not to do.
Especially if it's what not to do. What is a little bit of Jessica wisdom that you'd like to impart onto?
Oh, I don't know. I think any type of wisdom that comes out of my mouth is purely in the moment and accidental. Have I given you any wisdom? You're on the receiving end of my conversations.
Yeah, though I have a tough time articulating it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, is it word vomit or bounce words off and kind of figure it out that way. I don't know if I'll be able to tell you clearly and clearly, concisely, and I guess just clearly that what it is I learned until like it's come up later or late. You know, in the moment I'm trying to stay present and
Yeah, 100%.
who was it? Is it Chekhov that is all about like the past, present, and future in his characters? And yeah, or at least that's how Michael taught us when we were doing a bunch of Chekhov in his class.
I love Chekhov.
Me too. Check off, not Jack. No.
Check with CH. CH.
I really like Meissner too. I think it's because
Meisner and we can't hang together.
really.
Stella Adler and I were good. Uda were good.
I think what Meissner does well is keeps you present, because it's like reacting off of what's happening in this moment. You just moved your hand a little. I just moved my hand a little. You just moved your hand a little. You noticed I moved my hand a little. It's all like what's happening right now, and so I think that's pretty cool.
I think I found that tedious.
Yeah.
Though I do have a Meisner memory from that. Anecdote from way back in Jessica's life. So back in drama school, there was a guy. He was from New Orleans. He was really hot. He was a dancer. He was in our class, and he talked like this. He had a Louisiana accent, and he was my partner.
Was that like whoo?
Yeah, it was. We made out later.
Oh.
But that was another conversation. You know, college parties.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
those things. But
Spicy.
he was like, I don't get it, and the instructor was just like, just make an observation and say it. And he looked me up and down. He goes, your hair's long, and I was like, oh, hello. I was like, my hair's long. And it was hard for me not to go, my hair's long, because you know. How
Yeah.
we are. And he's like, your hair's long. He's like, I don't know what we're doing. I just told her hair's long. I don't know what to do next. What else do I tell her? And I was like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was to the point where he was already present when he was talking to me. We didn't have to get through the exercise to be present, because he took the 2 seconds. He was there. He made a statement. He looked me in the face. Your hair's long. Stating the fact.
Maybe it takes more people or different people longer to get present, and him it just took him like
It
that
could
2
be,
seconds.
But I was like, exactly. Meisner always like, I'm starting to overthink about it. I'm you know.
Yeah.
In my head, director.
What if that's part of the obstacle that Meissner makes you face?
It could be, but Michael Chekhov gets you out of your head, and there's an actual process to keep you out of your head.
Yeah. What is it?
It's very long. Are you kidding me? There's multiple things you have to do, but one of the main things is has to do with really just allowing the character to inhabit your body, being in the mental place to step away from yourself and let the character inhabit your body. And you do that sort of in practice. You get the muscle memory going. You start with imaginary body. And it takes 30, 40 minutes just to be in this person's body and let that person take over your body. So you start with the toes and the feet, and you work your way.
Is that where you're like walking around the room, Well, like that exercise.
That's one of. I mean, there's how many walking around the room exercises are there in theater? About 427. But yeah, I mean the
Well,
imaginary
that's
body.
lowballing it.
Exactly. But yeah, walking, getting the person in your body to the point where you don't pay attention to your body. You let your body step aside. You let their body step in. So then you move on to the next one. Where's their, are they heart-centered, head-centered? Is there center in their ear? Is there center in their chest? What is their psychological gesture and how does that work in their body? So there is a process that gets you there to be away. Let your body step aside. Let their body step in. Let them take control of what's happening. The psychological gesture has a lot to do with that as well. So once you get that process in, it becomes very instant. You start with you've given yourself all the tools you need. You know what their body's like. You know where their center is. You know how they move. You know where their voice comes from. You know what their psychological gesture is and why. So then with that information, you take the script and you apply it to the script. So when you're responding to something, you're responding with their body, not yours, because their body is already present. Your body's taken a break. So then you are not thinking. You're not thinking about what your body's doing. You're not thinking about what your next line is. You're not thinking about what is happening, because it's them and not you, and you're out of your head. And once you're out of your head, you're able to be reactive. Once you're in your head, you're no longer reactive.
40 minutes though. I'd rather just tell you your hair's long.
But it's much more fun than just repeating yourself. Do you know how annoying having to repeat myself is?
That's true.
As we've talked about already, living with a man who's 81 and losing his hearing and won't wear his hearing aid, and I have to repeat myself. So it's just irritating having to repeat myself to get somebody to listen.
What? No! Do you need anything, by the way? Snacks, water, restroom break, water, anything?
I'm good. How are you?
I kind of need a potty break.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do a little
Pause. Once you pause it.
Thank you. Yes. It's a mini. Sponsored today by Just kidding.
Please sponsor me.
Please sponsor us. We want more Dr. Pepper. I'm not sponsored, but the things that you can find in the description below is my my LMNT referral code, which gives you free goodies. LMNT is really good hydration stuff. I'm not gonna try to really upsell you on that. You could just it's just really good. And then lastly, my dog. I think I have a referral. Yes, I think my referral for like a new Tesla is also if you want up to $2,000 off. She's judging me so hard.
It's going to catch on fire, just like the trucks.
I don't know. They don't have a history of doing it.
No, cars don't. Trucks do. Don't get a truck. It'll just catch on fire.
Yeah, probably stay away from the trucks for now.
The Buck Rogers mining cars.
All right, here we go. So you mentioned earlier the life of Poe. The Tao of Poe?
The Tao.
The Tao of Poe.
The Tao of Pooh.
The Tao of Pooh.
As in Winnie the Pooh.
Yes. And something
The
of...
Day of Piglet.
The Day of Piglet. Okay. So, I know you want me to read those books, but...
Me too.
And I will one day.
Read them to your dog.
But what are some of the things that you wanted me to learn from that book? Oh God, that sounds so dumb to say. Like, what do you want me to learn?
The great things about those books is they think. So each of the characters in Winnie the Pooh are an archetype, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're a personality archetype, and it goes through with each archetype and kind of shows how Taoism works with the different personality archetypes, and how it helps you sort of flow. Because a lot of Taoism is about flowing through life, like not creating problems, but being able to flow through them and flow around them.
And not ping pong? No.
Not ping pong. So, for example, the Day of Piglet starts out with Piglet letting the narrator, who's the author, know, hi, baby, come on. Come on, baby.
Good boy.
Know that, Piglet saying, I'm a very small animal. And he repeatedly in the story says he's a very small animal and is often
Are you a really small animal too?
unnoticed.
Mm.
So then we see sort of Piglet's psyche and how he wants to be noticed, but because he is a very small animal and he feels very anxious and very afraid, he does not know how to be seen safely.
That's you, buddy.
And
You're anxious and afraid.
it kind of helps. It has a narrative, and it tells him, and all his friends come through. Christopher Robin comes through, and they have conversations, and things are revealed. But it kind of.
Who wrote this? Is it?
I don't remember his name. It was written in '68, I think.
Is it the people that like have intellectual property over it? Or actually, are they old enough to like anyone can use them now?
I don't know about that, but these have been around, like I said, since I think it's 1968, 1970, somewhere quite along in there. Piglet, I think, came around in the early 80s. But yeah, I think you would enjoy them because they are intellectual lessons taught through very familiar forces and very familiar characters that we all have within us and we all identify with. Because the archetypes in each of these are different sides of ourselves. When we are feeling like a very small animal
Mm-hmm.
and we are not seen and we don't know where to find our bravery, that's when we're Piglet, right?
Did you did you recommend them to me during like COVID era?
Mm-hmm.
It's all starting to make sense now.
Yeah.
No.
But
Okay.
just the way they present, and not only information about how Taoism is structured and how it works, because you were talking about how you're a spiritual person, but you're not specifically religious. You don't
Yeah.
have a flavor of religion
Yeah.
that you follow.
Haven't quite figured that out. And
But
don't know if I will.
this would be a very interesting, stimulating avenue, I think, for you. Things for you to ponder and things for you to explore without it being a condemning religion, like a lot of Christian religions are condemning religions. And this is a spiritual path that feels like it gels very well with who you are naturally, the scent of Daniel, and how that works. To me, they are very similar, and they complement each other well and gel together well.
Wait, whose scent compliments me? Mine?
Scent of Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, what were you saying? Or were you saying that?
I was saying that these books
Oh!
and the stories and how
Oh my gosh.
these are how these reveal themselves and how it explains Taoism and how it ties Taoism and would work and gel really well with you and who you are as a person and how you sort of seek your spirituality for what that is.
Stimulating spiritual ponder.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get that from? Describing things of that are like your scent, or
As how I see you.
is it like
It's
your
just-
aura or your energy is how younger folk might say?
Kind of. To me, your scent is what is about you that is uniquely you, that is lasting. When you think of somebody's scent, it is always unique to that person. It's how a dog, a cute little puppy.
Ooh, careful when he's lying down. The booty area is very sensitive.
He let me pet his booty earlier.
But was
good
he
with
lying down?
it. He was good with it.
Okay.
But like, I'm not gonna pick at him because he's like, he's got Papa on the face. He's like, I love you, Daddy. Get rid of this spirit. I don't need her. We don't need this bitch.
Oh
Get
my
rid of her."
goodness. Look at him.
See, we don't need this bitch. Get rid of her.
Oh, no! I mean, he might be thinking that. Are you a crude and senseless person? Nah.
No, he's like, I'm just talking. I just calls it like I sees it. Yes, he does. But that's just how I identify people. And
Okay.
what a scent is to me is not necessarily their smell, but what is about them that is a lasting impression on me. Because, like I said, a dog cannot see you for 5 years but remember your scent,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't even detect your own scent unless it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
no one can tell their own scent, but animals can tell what your scent is, and that is uniquely and 100% you.
And that's what you were saying earlier too, that you can't detect your own energy and scent.
Right. So in a way, a scent can be seen like in this context, like an energy, but energy is fluctuating. Your scent is constant.
Do you think that like scent is someone's like soul, almost kind of like in a
Yeah, I think it's how their soul, because your soul is obviously an intangible, but how it declares itself in a way. Your soul's tone of voice, your soul's, I don't know. It's an intangible. It's hard to put a tangible word to an intangible. Scent is the closest thing I've come to it. Scent is the closest thing I've come to it. My voice carries. It should be fine.
Yeah. So, if money wasn't an issue, and you could be doing the thing, like what is the thing that you could be doing that would bring you just all the fulfillment? What would it be? Would
My first inclination would be to say theater, but the thing is a big component of who I am is I'm like you. I'm a perpetual learner. I have to be learning something. I'm the people I choose are people that I choose to learn things from. I can like you and think you're fun and be cordial and we can hang out, but if I can't learn something from you, if it's kind of clear that what I'm learning from you is limited to a specific thing, I'm not going to feel connected to you, and I'm not going to make the time effort to continue to be connected. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But isn't that right, buddy?
is he getting EPIs?
Isn't that right? That's how it is. You listen. You hear it? You feeling me? Beautiful boy. So I think it would probably be.
Is she making you friend? You making you friend? You
Yeah.
leaning against her? You making you friend?
It would
Good boy.
probably be one of those things that I would either be traveling a lot because you learn when you travel, or moving every so often, so many years to different places to learn different things, to answer a different part of my soul, society, whatever that can't be answered from where I am, to continue that.
What if you made content? I mean, content makes you travel, especially when it's like interviewing or vlogging of some sort, like Jessica's travels. That's in a way theater, in a way.
I've thought about that, and I had a conversation in line to vote with this lady. She was a stewardess, which is not the correct term for it, but that's her. Well, what do they call it? Flight attendant.
Oh, I was like, what is it?
And she does international flights.
Mm.
And I was like, how does that work with a time schedule? And she's like, well, you have a certain schedule, but after you've gone overseas for a few days, back and forth, then you have so many days off, and then you go back for so many days. So it is a split schedule, and she could work more, she could work less. And she said it was very easy to learn how to do. It's just if your airline, whatever. And she's like, you like traveling and you like visiting places, you should do that because that way it's paid for. I'm like, how much time do you have to really visit these places? If you're flying to Japan and then you've got to leave the next day, what exactly do you see?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, that's the interesting thing, is sometimes you can work it where you know, you go in on a flight and then 2 days later you go back on a different flight. So you have a few days to look around. I was like, okay.
Hotel and expenses paid?
Yeah, because it's the airline takes care of it.
That sounds pretty good.
It does, but then I was like, I know how I am when I travel. I can't just be there a couple of days because it's very unsatisfying.
Yeah.
The time overachiever that I am, I want to have as much time and spend as much, just put as much into a day as I can if I know I've only got a few days. But if I've got like 6 months, then I can have my day to just gonna go eat at this restaurant and stare at the people.
What
I'm
if
gonna
you
go
were
do this.
a one-way flight attendant where you worked one way and they
And
paid you?
how would I get back?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead, but in a perfect world, maybe that, you know?
One-way flight attendant is on a crashed plane, Daniel. I don't think that's where I want to be, but thank you.
Yeah, no. Nope. Maybe we won't get to it this second or this
Okay.
hour, but I don't know. Get yourself thinking about it. You never know what the heck might happen.
You know, there's so many things that I think about that I'm like, I gotta get this, because I would like to. I think it would be fun to like narrate books and do
Yes.
voiceovers. Because I used to, when I was younger, when I was a kid, one of the things I would do was I was always like reading books to myself because my mom taught me to read when I was 4, so she didn't have to continue to read to me. But I would read books to myself and I would do different voices because everyone's supposed to have their different voice and some words are supposed to be said better in a different accent, so that's why you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would be incredibly fun, but then of course I can't hear what my voice sounds like, and then when I hear it played back, I'm like, oh God, no one's gonna listen to that.
And that's where you're wrong. That's where I think you're wrong. You just not judging yourself.
Well, because what I hear and then what I hear there, I was like, completely different sound, completely different tone. Like when I hear a recording of my voice, I sound like I'm in my 20s, late teens, 20s. I don't have age in my voice that is
But
in
you
my
have the
person.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm. But you have the gravitas, the experience that younger folk won't.
Mm-hmm.
You have that on them. You have experience and you sound younger, perhaps, but
you hear my voice. Does the sound of my voice match my age?
because one, you don't look your age, but so in a way, no. But there's still that like little bit of mature raspiness that I hear. I think so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't think that you could decide what you think people will like.
I can't. I can only go on what I think. But I'm also a person that one reason that I stopped acting, not only because I was not getting the training that I needed at the school I was at, Southwest Texas State University, but I realized how much I could not gauge myself in what I was doing. So it was hard for me to make character choices when I could not understand how they were being received, which is why I switched to directing, because that's all about receiving and understanding receiving. So I have no idea what kind of actor I could have been because I needed to pivot. And I made a really big pivot to directing.
I saw a picture of you with, what is that? Is it Japanese style makeup?
Geisha.
Geisha. I was like, wow, what that looked impressive and awesome.
That a friend of mine was a photo shoot, and she was a makeup artist and a designer. She's one of my belly dance friends.
Oh,
she
yes.
also did
I forgot you did that.
my belly dance pictures. So yeah, and we had a conversation about that and things and it was shortly after my mother died, actually.
Oh.
And my mom used to do art quilts that were Japanese themed. So that's where that came out of.
Do you have any left over? Do you have any at home? Or
Pictures?
Your quilts.
Oh, I have all of her quilts.
That's awesome.
And the tattoo that I have is based on a quilt that she did.
On your shoulder?
My back. You've seen it.
I think I've seen it, yeah.
You've seen it. But you haven't.
Mr. Borky McBorkston.
So yeah, travel. I'm always wanting to educate myself. There's always a part of me that goes like, maybe I could go back to school and get a degree in scenic design because I don't have that degree. But then I think, well, how long would you do that? How long would you do scenic design until you got tired of doing scenic design and then you needed to learn something else and go on to do something else? And it's like, are you just a perpetual learner and you don't actually, hi baby, do anything? Hi baby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff you could self-teach too. Like, why go crazy into depth again?
Some things, like when we had COVID, I took 26 online short courses because I did not know. I have trouble learning online.
That's fair.
And the only way to learn online is to be online and learn how to learn online. So I did that. And some things I learned and some things I noted that did not stick with me and would not stick with me. And I think it may be because generally my generation didn't have a computer. Half the time, we didn't use typewriters till high school. We hand wrote everything that we did. The process of how we received information is completely different than how people receive information now. There was no computer to go to. If you wanted to know something, you read it in a book, you read it in a magazine, which meant you went to the card catalog, you opened the drawer, you found the topic, you found all the stuff. You didn't just type in a Google search and they gave you 20 books to go get. You had to go literally individually, every book at a time. That process of how you accumulated information sort of shaped my brain and how I can acquire information now. Because of when it was hardwired at that age, when you stop learning after a while and it hardwires and you got to do it this way. So I took a lot of different courses on different things.
I have something that I think I just realized that you do so profoundly awesomely is you know how to pinpoint what you need to do, and then you go and do it. So you were talking about like, oh, online learning is a skill, so I need to do more online learning, and so I'm gonna go do that. One, there's so many things there. One, like you kind of pinpointed like that's a skill, and I don't think many people would have thought that, right? They would just be like, oh, that sounds tough. I'm just not an online learner, and then just don't. But you didn't have that kind of belief.
Mm-mm.
And then kind of going back into what we talked about a little earlier was like you want to learn how to forgive. And so what you do is you have a really tough conversation once or twice a year. What is that? How do you know how to come here? How do you know how to pinpoint that? Is that self-awareness?
Yeah, but there's also, hi baby. I'm not looking.
Good job. Yep. It's a trap. It's like he's literally a cat where they'll like go on their back and you belly and they just scratch you. That yeah. Yes, that's my drink.
It is self-awareness. One thing that I learned a lot when I was teaching pre-K, because I did not have a background in education. Teachers are taught how to teach, and I was not. I was kind of winging it, and what I spent most of the time doing was observing what the child was supposed to be learning, what they were doing, how they were receiving information, how they were processing information, and then it backward engineered what they needed piece by piece to learn, so that I gave it to them in individual pieces, because at that age they don't learn in a big chunk like we do when we're adults. They learn piece by piece. So I needed to backward engineer what those. So if you want to learn how to write, I observed what they did with their hands, how they understood shapes, how they understood where to put things. Then I looked at what a letter was and how it was shaped, and I went through and sort of figured out how they needed to start. So when I taught them the process of handwriting, it was not the expectation of making an entire letter. It was the expectation of this is how you hold a pencil. And once we learned that, then the expectation was this is how we draw and put pressure on that pencil. And then after that, then it was this is how we make. And I had like a little story that we would follow that talked about, it was like clouds and things like that. So we learned how to write a letter based on a segment, either a straight line or a curved line or a diagonal line. So then the stories that we would practice drawing had to do with those segments of lines. So then we put that together, and now we had our letter, and now they could do their letter, now they could practice their letter, and now they could practice their letter writing straight down, that they wouldn't have to go down a hill. A lot of people write down a hill instead of going straight. Then they could learn how to do it in a particular order. And it was all backward engineering what they were supposed to learn so that I could give it to them in the pieces that they needed.
That's impressive to hear. And
I started having to apply that to everything that I did. So it became a habit. So teaching them science, teaching them social studies, teaching them how to read a map, teaching them how to look at a color, teaching everything started with backward engineering and breaking apart the components because their brains only were able to do components and then put the components together as a whole, where as an adult we learn as a whole.
do you think as adults we should still learn by components?
I think that would help.
That would help. I think so too.
But I think because we are in such a time crunch for everything, they try to compound the holes. So it's like, here's a basketball worth of stuff, a football worth of stuff, and a baseball. We're going to squish it all together into some sort of odd sport ball, and you have to learn it all at once. As opposed to, this is the component. Oh, you get that, buddy. You get it.
Let out your inner wolf.
Blanket. Let it get it. Just tear it to pieces. Tear it to pieces, buddy. You got it. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. You are such a good boy. You are such a good boy.
I would turn the camera around, but I don't want to move.
You are such a good boy.
He's going, and like just
Get it. Get that blanket. Get your blanket. You are so good.
He's letting out his anger.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get it.
And sometimes it's so easy to reprimand that, and we're like, no, stop it, stop it, stop it.
Good boy.
We're like, how else would he let it out?
Good boy. That's one way.
Barking.
My kids scream.
I learned
Not just to annoy the adults.
therapeutic screaming is a thing, and I have like a bongo drum, and I got told like go into the middle of the woods and go and just like bang it and like scream and go
Good boy. You are a good boy.
And it felt great. It felt
Good boy.
nice and
Such a good
therapeutic.
boy.
Maybe you're onto something. Go out and lash out, screaming, bashing a couch you see on the road.
So when I started belly dancing, one of the things about that is that it's sort of a dance made for women, not just physically for a woman's body, even though it is really designed for how a woman's body is made, but it was also originally a form of community. And if women, obviously they were in a not free society, and they were also not free to express themselves, but it was a place where they could let things out. They could express emotional content. They could have conversations with other women. So women would dance for women and with other women because it was how they were physically able to work through things emotionally they could not verbally say, or things that were happening, and they had their community. And there's a lot, I think, to that as a human being. As a human being, you're supposed to move. You're designed to move. That's why you have joints, and you're not a stick figure or a blob, right? We have joints and we have muscles and they're machines, and we're designed to move. And so when you don't move and you lose the ability to move, that's when you start getting ill. But I think that also works emotionally.
That's how you were saying earlier, like if you were older, you wouldn't stop doing things because.
Right. You good boy. Such a good boy. Yes, you are a good boy. Get it. Good boy.
Vivo.
So good.
Vivo.
So good.
Mira.
So good. Yes, you are so good. Go get some water. Go get some water.
Oh, it's in Sarah's room.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can't get out. You can't get to the other side. So I have written on here, if manifesting works, I want to manifest this for you. A job to come to you that has some type of narrating voiceover that has to do with education, perhaps, that lets you travel, and education meaning you learn and you teach, perhaps. That's what I got so far.
Thank you.
I hope you do find something.
I hope I do too. And part of me knows that everything comes in stages for reasons. I didn't get to go to grad school till I was in my mid-40s for a reason. Part of it, I think, was so I had certain people that would come across my path and I would meet them, because if I'd gone 5 years earlier, I never would have met you.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened. That was the time and the place that I could meet you. Wouldn't have happened otherwise. And you are a very important person in my life. So part of the myriad of reasons why I didn't go to grad school to my mid-40s has a lot to do with, again, where I needed to be at that time and who I needed to know.
Yeah.
You being one of those people. Very important people. So stinking cute. So things will happen as they need to happen. You know, at God's time, not my time. Which I'm just like, oh, come on. I have a schedule.
Why are you making me ping pong? What is the grander picture?
You know I'm only here for a limited time. Why? Let's get a move on.
What are you doing? What do you think you're doing to, if you do anything, and no judgments? I feel like I have to say all these things right, but the question is, what are you doing to make yourself, to level up in your person, to make yourself a better person, to, if that is a goal that you want to do? Like, is there things you're working on? And
I think you always, as long as you're alive, you're supposed to make yourself a better person, because I think that's where your potential lies.
Yeah, I'm a little timid to say that, but yeah, I was yeah.
Well, I know what my faults are. I'm a very selfish person of my time. As we talked about, I have trouble forgiving. Always have. And that, of course, comes from a place of lack of safety growing up.
Ooh. Yeah.
And it's a protecting thing. So working through that is a big thing. There's a lot of things that come up in my life that I have disappointments. Friends have disappointed me, and repeatedly there's been a theme of not expecting people to come through for me, but being glad when they do. Just because I've had a life where it's a really good massage on my hip, buddy. You're doing great. A lot of people have let me down. And then part of me would question, am I just too idealistic of a person that I expect people to be the best version of themselves? And am I not enough of a realist to have the room to understand that people are going to let you down because they're people? So pick very carefully and mindfully of what expectations you have of them. Example, I just did a show. I invited some friends that were in town, so it's not like they lived far away and could not go, but they were in town. I gave them multiple reminders. I even told them other friends were coming on this day if you want to see them too. And the day after the show closed, I got like an apology letter, or apology text. I am so sorry I missed it. I'm like, I'm going to have to call you out on your BS, because A, you know how to use a calendar. You knew this was coming.
Yeah.
It just wasn't important enough to you, and I think you just need to tell me that. I get that not everybody likes theater. I get that. It's stupid and it's dumb because theater's everything. But Some people have not come to that realization yet. It's time. Takes time. But this particular person, who is one of my best friends, but is also a person with limited bandwidth and has problems with organization, memory and organization.
Oh,
so
sorry.
they forget doctor appointments. They forget this, even though they've got it on the calendar 3 times and they've got reminders. They forget this. I've known about this person. This is something they've done their whole life. I know that. So they were telling me about all this stuff, and I'm like, just stop with the BS. You made a choice. It was not important enough to you. Remember, you know when to put gas in your car. You know when to go to your doctor's appointment. You know how to make a calendar. You have a job which requires you to fulfill dates, or you get fired. So, you know how to do it. You're choosing to not use those tools in this situation because it's not important enough to you. It's not that I am not important. It's that this particular event is not important enough to you to have to go to all the lengths that you have to go to remember to do something. You could have taken the 10 minutes it takes to buy that ticket and put it on your calendar. You had an entire month. You chose not to do it. And I'm calling you out on that. I'm not angry at you about that, but don't give me your BS excuse about this because that's BS.
Just be honest.
Just say it what it is.
I mean, sometimes that's the toughest thing you can do because of like the fear of judgment, the fear of letting down, the fear of this, and that.
It is, and I know that. And one of the things that I'm like, that I'm learning about and that I'm working on is not to take it personally when somebody lets me down in that regard, because there is not a person on this planet who's going to be there for everything that I need them to be there for. I have one friend that will be for this. I have somebody that will be there for me for this. I have somebody over in this area that will be there for this, and I know that. But this person over on the left is not going to be there for the stuff on the right.
What am I there for you?
You're there for my soul. That's what you're there for. Because I love you.
I love you too.
See, the thing, Daniel's, I don't feel like I have to I've got to make sure I see Daniel once a month or we lose our connection.
Yeah.
That's not what we have. I feel like, because we haven't seen each other in, a year? Physically seen each other a year, maybe?
Yeah.
2 years?
Random phone calls here and there. Really nice.
Right. But we can still have a 4.5 hour conversation. And it's still exactly the same.
I think something that I struggled with that I told you earlier off the record, if you will, was that it feels like I don't deserve this level of friendship, like to have someone that I don't see for a year, and I feel like uncomfortable at first, because it changed when we started talking. I felt like then more present and grounded, but it didn't feel like I could. Like, it didn't feel like, wow, I have someone in my life that is willing to drive down an hour and a half and be vulnerable with me in front of a camera and says that she loves me as a friend and wants to, as a soul friend. And I'm like, God, is this real? Is this, do I deserve this? Is that?
I think you need to remove the term deserve from your vocabulary. Because that's a judgment.
Oof, yeah.
Do you deserve friendship? Well, if friendship is not a reward, friendship is a relationship. And it's a communal thing. It's we share interests, we share points of view, vibe, whatever term the kids are using today.
We vibe.
And because of that, we have a respect for each other. We do have a commonality in that we believe in treating people good. Except that one bitch.
I don't know. I still, like you said, I'm trying to practice forgiveness, and I don't know. I almost, I still find myself thinking like I still wish them the best, and I don't know. I just, I still hope that there's good in everyone.
So my exercise in forgiveness has been going on for 24 years.
Mm.
And I still need to do it. Because there's still a lot of anger and frustration that still comes up. I mean, this happened when you were 6. Think about that. My issue with this person, you were 6 years old. What were you doing at 6 years old? What were you like at 6?
Your issue with this... Are we talking about the same person?
We are. I put a comment in my conversation. So, Daniel, when you were 6 years old, tell me what you were like. What were you doing? Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
Living in a cockroach-filled apartment with a weird neighbor. Going to elementary school.
Should be first grade.
First grade. It's elementary.
Yeah, it's on there.
And trying to hang out with my best friend Omar.
Okay, so you're 6 years old. And you're in California.
Mm-hmm.
So in Minnesota, at that time, I was already an adult. This person and I were having a relationship which ended up because of choices he made.
When you were saying like accept that, I thought you were talking about...
Just to put it into perspective, how long this has taken me. Okay.
Okay.
So all the things that have happened to you since you were 6 up till this day. That's how much time I've been trying to work on learning what it takes to forgive somebody.
Oh.
And how to let things go. And it's still there's still things that really just I can't let go of. I haven't figured out that mechanism for letting go. What is that process of letting this experience and the information that I've gained from this experience, how do I take that and release that? Because that is a process. That's not an instant thing.
Yeah.
So to me, that's either telling me there's something in there that I'm still not dealing with. And until I'm dealing with this, I don't have all the forgiveness that I'm going to need to truly let that experience with this person stop having an effect on how I think, how I talk to other people, what I'm cautious about, things like that. Because it is ever changing. Because I've changed as a person. He has changed as a person. But there are things in that still make me want to punch him in the face. So, it's taken a long time. And it will continue to take a long time.
So when you were saying earlier, were you referring to my person or your person? Both. Neither.
Both.
He has decided to put the butt.
So, hi, baby. Can I pet you? I'll just put a hand there. Just put a hand there.
Nice. He's really grown so much.
It can take you a long time and a lot of pieces before you have complete release and forgiveness of this person that wronged you. Especially if that person does not believe they have wronged you, because there's an incompleteness in that circle. But it's okay to release it without it being complete. It's just very, very difficult because there's other things that go along with it. So as far as personal work, that's something that I still struggle and work on. Giving people grace for their annoyances and when they let me down. And taking away with myself, thoroughly managing my expectations of people so that I'm not continually let down. Because if I'm continually let down by somebody, I'm going to consider them not a friend. But maybe it's not that they're not a friend. It's maybe I have unrealistic expectations of that person's ability, to meet a need I may have.
Yeah. That's something that should be probably communicated with your friend. Probably.
And I communicated that with them.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they were like, well, I'm like, I love you. I'm not mad. But don't try that excuse with me because I don't accept it. I've known you for 35 years. We shall not be doing that.
Nice.
So that's a boundary for me. That's another thing I have to learn how to do because I was sort of raised to not allowed to have boundaries.
Oof.
So learning how to establish a boundary, to actually acknowledge, name, design, shape that boundary, and then hold that boundary up are all things that I'm still having to work on.
Do you have an exercise that you do to forgive or to do?
No. I mean, it would probably be helpful.
You like meditating? Do you like meditating?
I think if I did not have the ADHD issues, because if my brain is still, it will fill itself in.
Well, I think that's the point. Like, not to don't allow the thoughts, but to accept the thoughts and realize, like, okay, I'm having all these thoughts. Like, that's part of the process.
It's a lot of thoughts.
I know. Trust me, I know.
There's some soundscapes.
Maybe
There are other, like, outside. It's kind of like a one thing. So,
You said you're turning 50 or you are 50?
I'm 50. I'll be 51 this summer.
So you have 20 more years of thoughts and
Of thoughts, sounds, memories.
That doesn't sound too crazy saying it out loud. Oh my God, I'm turning 30 next year.
In my head, you'll always be 26 because I think that's how old you were when we met. So that's like a constant.
No, in college I was.
How old were you?
18 to 23. 18 plus 5. Yeah.
In my head, you were always 26.
Really?
That was the
That's
age.
so interesting. College. 26 was.
During
I believe
COVID?
it was during COVID. Yeah.
Maybe why? Because,
Mhm.
nobody can understand the time vortex that was COVID.
Mhm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because of Melissa, I try to practice Ho'oponopono. It's a like Hawaiian forgiveness technique. And it's a little mindful, but you could try it. I could send you the meditation. See, just to see if it.
Try something new.
Throw it at the wall, see if it sticks.
Exactly, because right now the reason that I chose to continue to conversate with this person that really did a lot of damage was so that I could remind myself that they are also a person with damage. And they made the choices that they made because of that. And if I cannot hold anger and hate and frustration and all the violent feelings I had toward them, knowing that if they were just a horrible, really genuinely evil person, I would have no problem hating them and I would not need to forgive them. But I know this person genuinely is a good person. They did not have the skills to behave the way they needed to behave in the situations that we were in. So the exercise of forgiveness acknowledges that, accepts that, because they are a person. They are fallible. They do stupid things. They still do stupid things. And expecting perfection from somebody who will never reach that is unrealistic.
What is perfection even?
There is none.
Mm.
So going into the attitude of somebody being pissed off because somebody made a mistake, that means you expected them to be perfect and not make a mistake. Well, that doesn't exist.
Mm.
So that's an unrealistic expectation. That's setting everything up for failure.
Yeah.
And it may not be the success you wanted, but that's you needing to readjust. In this case, me needing to readjust my expectations of somebody's abilities. But I have to let go of what their lack of abilities resulted in and how it affected me before I can not be upset with them. And that's a process.
What struggles do you face that are because of that person that you faced today?
The amount of trust issues I have. How many people do you know that I've dated?
At the moment, only Phil. That was his name? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was that who you were dating while you were in grad school?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that you were telling me, don't eat what you shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how long have you known me? 10 years now. One person in 10 years. Because I have so many trust issues. The only reason I dated him is because I knew him for 15 years before.
Oh, wow.
Hi, baby.
What characteristics did he have that
Phil?
that you're like, oh my gosh, this is...
He was genuinely a good person. He was intelligent. He thought before he acted. He was hilarious. He did not take himself too seriously, even though he had, when we first started dating, he had a lot of insecurities and things that he didn't feel good about himself. But by the time he passed away, he was doing wonderful. None of that. He was doing great.
Do you mind me asking how he passed away?
COVID.
Oh, shit, really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. How old was he?
54.
54. Oof.
His family came over for Thanksgiving, and they all lived in sort of different areas, and they came and they had a big picture. No one was
Masked.
masked. 5 people that day got COVID from that. He is the only one that didn't go home. His parents both got it. They went home. Sister and brother-in-law got it. They both went home. He's the only one that did not.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so... Hi, baby. The amount of trust issues that I have as a result of that one situation. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah.
Well, I hope you find someone that is as amazing as you are.
Thank you.
If you're still searching. Because I think you deserve good. I hope you also think you deserve good.
I've removed deserve.
Oh,
from
that's
my
right.
vocabulary.
That's right.
Because it makes it feels like it should be earned.
Gosh. Yeah.
And I don't know that that's something that we should look at as should be earned. I don't know if good things should be earned. I don't know why they can't just be. Why can't we just be good to other people? Why does it have to be earned? Like it's money, like it's a commodity.
Damn. I never thought about that, really.
I feel like we need to look at like the Japanese language, because they always have words for everything. Like, what is a different word that could be used
Then deserve.
instead of deserve or earn, or somewhere where you have to work for something that really you should just have in your life? Why is that not just the natural presence of things is goodness?
Attract? Am I heading in the right direction?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that.
Hi, baby. Handsome boy.
That's gonna be something I'm gonna be thinking about daily now. Or what words can I use instead of deserve?
I feel like there's probably one in Japan, maybe the Germans even, but the Japanese definitely have words for random things.
Yeah. Let me double check. See if it's still recording. Low power mode. Nice, it's still going. Oh, he took my seat. Oh, he took my seat. Oh, that's
They
okay.
snuggle with me. See, I told
He's
you.
a snuggler. He loves
I
snuggling.
told you could snuggle with me anytime.
You heard that, Bubba? You got a new friend.
You can snuggle me anytime, baby. Yes, you can.
Well, I love learning as well. And I like having people around my life that are also lifelong learners because then you're like, oh my gosh,
Keep the
You're-
kinetic energy going.
yeah, you're learning this thing, and now, oh my gosh, you did that. You learned that, and that helps me learn even more. And then I learned this, and it's nice. What's the next thing on your? Part of me wanted to be like, and now this is a dating show. Jessica McMichael is this, and if you're looking for someone, she's looking for a job and no. But what's the next step of what's the next step in the Jessica McMichael path slash? Yeah, what you doing next? What's the?
I've got a couple shows coming up in the spring.
Are you still satisfied and fulfilled with doing shows? And because man,
Yeah.
it takes so much time. That's like the
It
one thing
does,
that's holding
it
me back from
does.
auditioning for theater. Films, I'll do. If theater, oh my gosh, excuse me.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, theater. Man, it's just all the time commitments and like,
It is, and
especially like if you want to do a great job at it.
luckily, well, I've kind of limited myself to 3 shows a year.
Nice.
Because then I've also got to take care of my dad, and I've also got to work my other job, and then there's things that I need to do, things I need to clear away. I inherited a lot of my brother's things, and it's hard. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of having to go through somebody's things after they've passed away. But
Thankfully, not yet.
I've done it a lot. And it brings up a lot of things that sometimes you think were gone, and some are good that are brought up, and some it's like, damn, I didn't need to think about that again.
Like,
Ever.
this is something that I wish was resolved before you passed away. That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And a lot of what I've learned over the past 5 years, because I've lost a lot of people, I need to change how I think of loss. And this is just for me.
Ooh.
So I don't go down a depression rabbit hole of sorrow that I can't get out of. One of the things that really bothers me about somebody dying, and I've been dealing with death my whole life. We are constantly going to showings, which I still think are a little bit weird.
Wait, what is that?
Um,
they opened the coffin?
When the day before the funeral, you can go and visit the open coffin and look at
Oh.
the dead body, and I'm like, is this to make sure they're dead? Like when I was a kid, I didn't understand the point of it. And
To
my
pay
mom,
respects or something?
my mom would say, just pay respects. I'm like, why do I have to see their dead body to pay respects? Because a respect is an emotional thing, and if they're gone, I can just send that up. It's not like I have to go through their body to get it because they're not in there.
The cynical part of my brain is like, oh, it's so the funeral makes money. It's for the funeral parlor to make money.
It can be. Well, I mean, I think the tradition came out to make sure they were dead, because people in the 1800s were getting buried alive. 'Cause they didn't have medical technology to know, yes, their brain dead. No, they didn't. So, oops, somebody just with a very, very, very weak pulse that was cold. Oh, you're dead. And then, oops, no, you're not.
Nah.
Psych.
Psych.
So, hi, baby.
Good boy.
Sweet baby. So, but yeah, I mean, when I was a little kid, I was looking at dead bodies of people I didn't know, and so it doesn't affect me. Like, I acknowledge death. When I was 10, my great aunt shot herself, and I was at my granny's, and,
Oh my God.
and I remember my grandmother going, I was out in the backyard on the swing, and hearing my granny in the house going, Otis, put your pants down, Adele shot herself. She ran out on the porch, Jesse, get in the car. So I ran to the car, and we got there before, like, the police and the
Jesse.
coroner.
I know this is such a tragic story, but
Country people,
that's really cute.
they won't say my name. They call me Jesse, and I'm like, my name is Jessica.
Holy crap. So much freaking misery. What's the word? Like, sadness has gone through your life. Oh my God. How are
It's
you
not
such an
even-
amazing person? You chose to be the hero? What happened?
I chose to not be an asshat. It's a choice. It's a daily work on it. Because there's a lot of, like, snark and snide comments and asshole things that are in my head, but I'm like, it will not make the situation better to say it, so
It
don't
really is
say
a
it.
choice every day to, like,
It's a struggle sometimes to not be like, you're a fucking idiot.
proud of you for
But
sticking it out.
customer service face.
Well, I think you are an awesome person,
Thank you.
and I'm glad to know that you're even to this day still working on yourself. You are a wonderful soul. You have gone through so much, and freaking universe, please give her everything she deserves, and maybe. Oh.
Wipe that word out.
Ugh!
Because who decides what is deserved?
God?
So maybe I am getting what I deserved in God's eyes.
Oof. That's something to chew on.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe I'm not getting what my heart wants, because there's something else that I need to do first. So maybe I will get all the things that I want when I'm no longer having to take care of my dad.
There's something that needs to click in place that'll. Maybe.
Maybe somebody else has to come into my life. Maybe I need to meet a certain person to change things, or to be in the right place at the right time. Or see a little puppy. I have this little puppy.
Well, this seems like a good place to end it.
Yes. Thank you, Daniel, for having me. I love you.
Thank you for trucking all this way to come down. I'm not going to say specifically where we are, but
Yep.
thank you for driving down and spending time, having breakfast, cuddling with the dogs, and,
Always cuddle a puppy.
and being vulnerable. Thank you for having the courage to say everything that you said today. And, hopefully we'll be back on another episode in the future.
We can get my favorite meteorologist, John Harvey.
We could do
And
a
we
trio.
can have like a trio.
I need another mic. No!
We'll just keep passing it around.
Yeah.
You know what I thought would be kind of funny?
Hmm.
Because I see you have Cards Against Humanity, and that's such a wonderful game.
Play it on camera.
Play it, but let that lead the conversation.
Ooh, I like that idea. Okay.
One thing
Like what anything that spurts out of that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah.
Like that's the guide.
I like it.
That's the guide, because there's a lot that's revealed in that. I was playing it one time with ladies that I taught with. I had them over to the house because they'd never been over to the house, and we were playing, and something made me laugh so hard, and it made me attune into what my sense of humor is, because it's pretty broad. I have a very broad sense of humor. But the thing that made me, I couldn't like keep it together, and I was like, I know you guys don't think it's that funny, but for some reason it's hitting the exact funny thing that will make me laugh for days, and it did for days. And it was something like, the card was, I drink to forget, and then you had to put your card down, and the choices I had, the best one was hot cheese, and I was like, that's it, I drink to forget hot cheese. Like, why do you need to forget hot cheese? And it still cracks me up because my brain can't understand why that's something that needs to be forgotten. Who needs to forget queso? It's queso. Why do you need to forget queso? What's happening there?
You didn't hear of the great queso incident?
So
The
then
great queso incident of '06.
my brain wants to find out what that narrative is. Why you need to drink to forget queso. And so see,
Oh my
it still-
gosh, are those laughing tears?
Yes.
That is so amazing.
It still makes me laugh. I acknowledge that it's really not that funny. But-
I don't. Brain.
But to me, it just kills me. It's like the subtlest funny bone
Yeah.
that never gets tickled, and suddenly that did it. You pretty puppy. But yeah, it just kills me.
Love that.
I drink to forget hot cheese. Why would you need to forget it? I'm so confused.
There are people
It
that
just makes me laugh.
there are people out there that share that sense of humor. I think maybe you have to do more funnies, write stuffs with that type of funnies, and
I don't know. But you know, I like a comedy. I'm good with comedy. Tartuffe was funny.
write stuff. Let's do like a reading with you, John, and I.
I started over COVID. I started writing actually right after COVID. No, yeah, right after COVID, before we moved, I started writing like a little murder mystery, like a little cozy mystery.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, just 100 pages, just entertain myself.
What the heck? 100 is a lot. 100 is a lot. No.
When your brain just like free flows. And I'm like at 250 pages, and I'm still not, haven't quite figured out who, like, the whole murder thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need to wind this up because it needs to finish. Nope.
It has.
Just telling a story to entertain myself. My life is better when it's all about entertaining me.
It's now a TV show.
It's now a TV show. It could be. Probably in Canada. Yeah, baby. So pretty.
Well, I hope you find or don't find the hot cheese.
Could be like a code word. Like if we need to hang out, I'll just type hot,
Hot cheese. I don't know how to end things, so I'll just say
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Well, okay, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is whatever comes up the top of your head,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's one, two, or three things, or just one, what is something that you wish you knew in your 30s?
In my 30s, I had to think back to what was going on in my 30s. That's going to take a minute.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. I wish I knew how to believe myself when I gave myself advice, or when I told myself stop and think, or if I was like, you really need to do this. I wish I knew how to listen to that and go forward. At that time, I did not, because of all the things that came before.
I'm trying to learn to trust myself right now.
It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard.
What were the exact words again? It was
You know, if it comes out of my mouth, it's out. And then I don't know.
Jessica McMichael, everyone.